After many, many, many weeks here in the A Squared Cup Series, it all comes down to this tonight as the drivers battle on the high banks of Daytona for their last chance to get into the playoffs. My name is Kevin Young, bringing you the action right now here for the A Squared Midwest Barbecue Cup Series for the last chance 200. Well, here on ABN2. After the many weeks these drivers have been dueling it out, they have been battling, trying, clawing, and raising their way to try to get into the playoffs. And we're going to see how it plays off right now. In the middle of qualifying, we are having a little bit of some problems with SDK. So while we try to get this thing running, we'll see how qualifying is shaping up at the moment. We got many things to cover over in a short time frame, so we will get over that quickly. And we will get this show on the road. Let me find the right one. There we go. Pole qualifying. So while we wait for qualifying is concluding right now, we still have well over, checking the clock right now. Give me 2 seconds here. A little over under 5 minutes to go here. As SDK again, size have a little bit of a crash fest. There we go. It's updated on mine, but right now still going to get that working, the reel overlaid. So we'll talk about the points here coming into tonight with how it's shaping up to be, as right now Dale Markowski and Brandon Proudfoot are the top two on pole position. Here are the point standings right now as we speak. Obviously, it's a little bit decentered, so we'll drag that down. You can see right now is coming into tonight, John Hagan, Zach Millett, Brandon Proudfoot, Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp, Jeremy Braille, Brandon Featherplace, Lilac Zier, Daniel Michelle, and Seth Wanzing have all punched their way into the playoffs. They will be competing for a championship at the end of tonight's race and over the next 6 weeks. However, with the rest of the drivers, Gaiman, Sears, Feemster, Rakowski, Wright, Oberstadt, Hauk, they're all in at the moment. But look at that, how close it is between Hauk and Oberstadt, because if a driver below the top 16, like Bren Roberts, Michael Joy, Ross Baxter, Ryan Pinnell, Patrick Oberstadt, you name it, get enough points, they could bump their way in and maybe make life a pain for either of those drivers. Or at the same point, there is that risk as well that if a driver, again, like a Mongol, the battles occur, George finds a way in the high banks to find a way in victory lane, it could make it a mad scramble between Hauk, Oberstadt, and Wright, the last points in the A Squared playoff standings. Other than that, the regular season point standings trophy is pretty much in the hands of John Hagan, 81 clear of Proudfoot. Unless incident points play a factor, it will be those two drivers. That will be that driver, John Hagan, taking the championship. But for at least the regular season. But other than that, though, the fight is still on the playoff standings right now. We'll have to see how it all plays out in time. So, but 2 minutes to go in qualifying. I'm going to take this opportunity real fast to refresh SDK here. So just give me 2 seconds here as we get this going. We'll have warm-up in a second here. SDK always likes to be a little bit finicky when you make last-minute edits here. So there we go. And now you look at the side screen here. You got minute 43, and you're wondering what the colors mean on the side there. And we did color code it, and I will maybe change this if it's a little bit hard to read, and I actually probably will change it anyway. But long story short, if the driver's name is in green, they're in the playoffs. If the driver's name is in yellow, they are currently in the playoffs at the moment. If the driver's name is in orange, they still have a chance to point their way in, and the driver's name is in red, they have to win this race to get into the playoffs. Other than that, you can see anyone else in black. They are not competing for playoff standings, so they will not be a factor if they find their way into victory lane at the end tonight. But as you can see, though, one of the drivers that has a chance to point their way in, Ross Baxter. He is currently our pole sitter at the moment, but you can see how close it is between the top three. Brandon Bowie, who was filling in again for Brandon Featherplace, which we'll go over in the warm-up why he is here again in a minute. It's currently second. And John Hagan jumps up to the tippy top here,
just, letting y'all know,
he will be that, as we have to make sure the streams are muted too, as Hagan will jump up to the front row, barely missing out on pole position. So Ross Baxter, the driver that won the pole position at Daytona many moons ago, is going to most likely be on pole position here as the rest of the drivers begin to file in, as Kenny Reel and the 74 filling in for Jeremy Braille will jump in as well. So as warm-up is about to conclude here, we'll go over what we're going to see next in the festivities just a second. But playoffs, all this still on the line, so make sure you get a drink, get a snack, and tune on in, because this is going to be a great showdown to see what drivers can punch their way in to the A Squared playoffs and get themselves a chance to fight for the championship. Coming up in just a few seconds here. Alrighty, so as we head to warm up, we do have some things to go over here as well. First, let me just turn some things off here, and we will go over what everything is. So just 2 seconds here. So over the last week, while we were last talking to the viewers at home and watching the race, Brandon Featherplace, we've talked over on stream how his father has been battling cancer for the past couple weeks, and months too. And sadly, Brandon Featherplace's father has lost his battle to cancer, and he has sadly passed away from the disease. And obviously, Brandon is a big person in this community, and also with A Squared and ARCS in general being a very tight-knit community, as we see his car going on track right now. It is a very somber moment indeed, and the whole community gave him love and gave him support in his time of need here. And what's going to happen next here is the drivers are going to go out, as you can see. Brandon Featherplace's car, driven by Brandon Buie here, is going to go across the line here, and the rest of the cars, in turn, are going to line up on the front stretch and do a celebratory of life burnout across the start-finish line. So as the cars fan out here and get ready to get into position, you'll see the rest of the cars pile in a minute. You can even see some drivers as well docking out paint screens as well, like Ryan Pinnell here. As you can see, he's joined the car in question, the 34, as he's rocking a tribute scheme for Brandon Featherplace, as well as Kevin Feemster as well, who also made this beautiful logo that is made for Brandon Featherplace's father's memory here. So George Featherplace, obviously never knew you, but obviously you made a big impact on Brandon's life, and wherever you are, we wish you the best of spirits of your, in whatever denomination you celebrate, and in turn, obviously we'll give Brandon some comfort, even though it's a very tough time indeed, and it's going to be very hard to go through this. We obviously, as a community, want to show our respects and our support to you. So this celebratory life of burnout is for you and your father, George. And even though it may not be easy to ease the comfort, at the very least, though, it can at least hopefully bring you at least a little bit of a bright spot in this time of need. So we are going to go quiet here as the drivers do the celebratory burnout here. A celebration of life burnout. So as the drivers finished up their celebration of life burnout for, even though he's not in the car right now, Brandon Featherplace's father, George. Again, it's a very tough time for him and the Featherplace family. We wish here as ABN, A Squared, ARCS, the community in general, we wish all his family the best. We have near thoughts, I should say, in this time of need. And we do hope that, at the very least, that provides some comfort, and so can this rest. But again, George Featherplace presumably was a great man. Brandon Featherplace is obviously a great man, so if any of those traits were rubbed off on him by his father, definitely shows out in the game, especially this game. So anyway, as we are now going to get ready to go back into warm-up here, put the tower back up on the screen here. 4:40 to go in the clock here as drivers will fan on out here. You can see already getting some extra time to run in practice here in the pit lane and run out on track here. We do have some other news to cover real fast as well about some driver changes coming into tonight. We are going to cover that over as well. 2 seconds, please. So anyway, we do have a few things. Well, John Smeal has left Carolina Beagle Racing, and he has been officially replaced by James Wright. So just 2 seconds here. James Wright. Find him on my little timing and scoring board here. He is right there in the 13. Yep, right there in the 13. Following, sorry. He's filling in that 13. John Smeal, obviously John Smeal's left Carolina Beagle. He's filling in. Obviously, if he wins tonight, he would not qualify for the playoffs. He's just here for the fun of it and try to get some extra rides in that 13. Maybe impress some people for next season. Other than that, we do have a few fill-in drivers as well. Kenny Reel filling in the 74 for Jeremy Braille. As you can see him right there. He's got the red machine. You can see him filling in the 74 machine for Braille. In the playoffs, Jeremy Braille is, so this is just a week off where he has to get ready for the championship fight. Obviously, like we alluded to a little bit earlier, Brandon Bowie is in for Brandon Fed place in the 34. Briley Wright is in the 65 for Dustin Painter. Again, not a full-time entry, so he will not be, if he does find a way into victory lane, he will not take playoff eligibility for another driver, and Dustin Painter was not in eligibility for playoffs as well. So not really much of a factor in the playoffs. And last, Jared Merchant is filling in for Lilac Zier in the 80 machine. Okay, when you got a lot of names in the High Bank Daytona, it can be a bit hard. There's the 89 right there. You can see in the Menards machine right there. Filling in for Lilac Zier. Lilac Zier, again, in the playoffs, so not really much of an impactful sub per se, as Zier has already clinched her playoff spot as well by running the previous so many weeks. So they are in the playoffs as well. She's in the playoffs each day, and right now, Merchant going out to try to get a checkered flag. That is for all the drivers filling in for tonight. And right at the moment, Merchant, Roberts, Wanzing, your top three. They drive around the track here. So 2 minutes to go, still a warm-up here. We'll take this opportunity as well just to kind of go over and talk about how warm-up is, maybe fix some quick things on SDK. So do not go anywhere. We are going to probably go just a second here silent just so I can fix up some technical difficulties here, make sure everything is running for the main show here tonight. So a minute to go, warm-up. Hopefully that should fix some of the visibility issues we may have on the yellow names here. Again, just in case anyone's tuning in late here. 1 minute to go in warm-up. This is the final race before the playoffs start here tonight. 16 drivers will punch their ticket into the playoffs. And a lot of drivers, as you can see on the color coding on the left, if the name is in green, they are locked into the playoffs. They have nothing to fear. If their name is in yellow, they are currently in the playoffs at the moment, but still have a chance to get bumped out via points. If their name is orange, they have a chance to jump their way in on points. We'll have to tabulate stage points. Keep an eye on them throughout the show, or them and there. And lastly, if their name is in red, they are in a must-win situation if they want to make the playoffs at the end of tonight. So keep an eye on those as we go on through here tonight. As we see as the session comes almost to a close, you can see two Gear Cats cars in the Lawrence and Melissa Peltier Sharp working together here to get some extra little practice. And this is also where Team Allegiances will come into play. knowing your enemy, knowing your friend, trying to maybe get your teammate in, and give yourself extra bullets in the gun for the driver in the overall team standings here in the playoffs. Warm-up has officially concluded. We are on to the main race next, where 16 drivers will find their way into the playoffs. We'll see how that turns up here just in a little bit. Alrighty, so as we get on to the main race here, let me just turn on the date. There we go. We'll take a look at the starting lineup here tonight and see where all drivers ended up qualifying in to the main show here. So taking a look at the starting grid, Ross Baxter and John Hagan, they will make up row number 1 with Brandon Bowie and Dale Markowski making up row number 2 here. Going into row 3, you got Kenny Reel, fill-in driver, and Brandon Proudfoot. Second regular season point standings, they'll make up row 3. Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, a must-win driver in row 4 along with Josh Gaiman. Ryan Gomes and David Wright in row 5. Ryan Pinnell and Seth Wanzing making up row number 6. As we move further down the grid, we got Zach Millett and Davey Hawk in row 7, Briley Wright and Jared Merchant in row 8, Cody Pinnell and Patrick Oberstadt in row 9, Tom Sears and Jonathan Adams in row 10, James Kerr and Kevin Feemster and James Kerr in row 11. And we move further down, Josh Battles and Tommy Withers. STK has crashed, so I'm just reading this off from IC. We'll fix that in a second. Battles Withers, row 12, I should say. Catania Sharp, row 13. Wright Mongold, row 14. Alfred George, Stefan Oberstadt, row 15. And Brent Roberts rounding out the field here tonight in 30. Get that STK reloaded. We'll quickly show that again on screen just for people's records here, so just 2 seconds indeed. SDK, gotta love it sometimes. So we will actually get 1 lap extended here under warm-up. We'll take you behind the curtain here. Again, just being a little silent here, just trying to get SDK to magically decide to work here. So 1 extra lap of warming up here. Drivers get their extra little practice here, get their little warm-ups. There we go, STK working. So as you can see now, as the timer is wrong, but you can see by the laps, we'll have 1 more lap to go before warm-up here, as this show gets underway. And this is where the nerves kind of come in, because for many of these drivers, they started the season with high hopes, high wonders, trying to feel confident about what's going to happen, have high expectations for the season. For some of these drivers here, making the playoffs was something they really wanted to do, something they really wanted to try to get into. And for at least half this field tonight, that dream officially ends. Some may consider the season a wash, others will consider it a learning curve, others may just be kind of just hands up saying it is what it is. But for 16 lucky drivers, they will be fighting for a championship at the end of tonight's green festivities for 80 laps. So when we do go green, Baxter Hagan, they'll be row 1, as we did kind of go over. We'll just see it flashing through your screen. Baxter Hagan, Buey, Markowski, Reel, Lawrence, Proudfoot, Gaiman, Gomes, Wright, Pinnell, Millett, your top 12. Wanzit, Briley Wright, Davey Hawk, Cody Pinnell, Jared Merchant, Patrick Oberstadt, Tom Sears, Jonathan Adams, your next top 20. Feemster, Kerr, Battles, Withers, Catania, Sharp, Mongold, Wright, Oberstadt, George, Brent Roberts, your first 31 spots here tonight. So as the pace car gets on ready here, is going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. Restart on openings will be on green. After that, it will be under control of the leader. Pace car pulling on off. Green flag is out, and we are underway for 80 laps for the Daytona Last Chance 200 here at, well, Daytona. And to come off the last corner to finish lap number 1, it's going to be John Hagan. Starting the season on the way, right now on the way to end the season on the same way, or at least the regular season, leading lap number 1 with Brandon Proudfoot in tow and Josh Gaiman rounding out the top 3. Now this is where having kind of teamwork, having friends, having partnerships can really pay dividends, in turn not making major enemies, as it could really put you in a bad spot, especially in late time. And this is kind of the feeling out process, where drivers are going to be understanding what you may or may not be able to do, understanding if you're comfortable doing this or comfortable doing that. And in turn, if drivers kind of get that bad feeling of not trusting you at certain points, you could be in a spot where it could be, once a game over per se, but it would be a situation where no one's going to want to work with you. You're going to have real trouble working your way to the front. Second lap in the books, led as well by John Hagan, with Proudfoot there still in second. But that outside line a little bit further back, getting a little bit kind of racy here. 3 wide. You can see right there, Patrick Oberstedt in the chrome machine. There, right now on that battle, there's Patrick Oberstedt. You can see the 9 of Seth Wansing, a driver that's willing to push towards the front, make a third line happen, where maybe it isn't always the most ideal. He's someone that's very willing to push and really make it happen, as he begins to drift a little bit further back. Cut up to the second pack here again. You can see that second group beginning to kind of churn forward. Ryan Pennell and Zach Millett both in line number 2, pushing towards the front here. Outside line beginning to push. 22 of Proudfoot. They're now going to try to charge for the lead with help of the 12 of Ryan Pennell. They were teammates last season. This season, they are not teammates. The other is driving for Presidential. Speaking of, this is also Ryan Pennell's last season in A Squared competition. He decided to hang up the virtual driving suit, at least in A Squared competition. Maybe you'll never know, appear once or twice. And he's going to try to end his season on a bang here, and maybe try to get himself in the playoffs on a last push. Side by side, you can see right there for the lead, Millett almost got in the corner there. You can see 3 wide as the 89 machine of Jared Merchant is trying to split in that middle. Outside, though, John Hagan in that document machine almost looks like what Ray was on. Take that lead back on the high side, as they'll be side by side, heading off into 1 here. See right now 3 wads. These drivers being very aggressive. Stage does end on lap 15, so it's a short run here. These drivers battle and claw for every position they can get, and some of them really need stage points. Take a look on that left side of the screen there, for instance. Roberts, Gomes, Oberstadt, Pennell could all use stage points to get themselves some extra lunge just to get those last few points on in. Still up front, it's Hagan, Proudfoot, Millett, but there, look, Brendan Roberts here, gonna try to make something happen. Inside line now beginning to charge out here and charge quickly. Roberts and Merchant and Gomes all on that low side here. So we get a side-by-side charge here, trying to make some momentum work there. You can see the 74 Kenny Reel back there. 3 wide between Wanzing and the 34. As you can see, I have to hold that thought as Roberts and Merchant charge forward there. And they will take that high line and take the lead here. Now leaving the low line in charge of Ryan Gomes there. Ooh, look at Brandon Proudfoot thinking about making a move. He's going to try it here on the low side with Zach Millett in tow, ready to pull and ready to prod. They'll be side by side heading off here. Look at that little side draft there. Aggressive side drafting this early again. Usually isn't what you want to see this early on. These drivers are keeping it clean and keeping it green. Line beginning to move forward here and moving quickly, but it's still that. You can see, though, Ryan Pinnell get a little squirrely there on that outside line there. And now he's going to try to split Ryan Gomes here. 3 wide here. Gomes going to have to concede the spot, and his Gear Cats machine will have to jump behind Ryan Pinnell there. You can see the distance to that. Where does he come from? Seth Wanzing. Remember, a couple laps ago, you were talking about him being about 27, 26. He's now up leading that inside line in P6. And like I said, he's a driver that's very aggressive and is willing to get to the front and put himself in good spots to contend for situations. And with the winless drought he's having, probably one of the longest of his career, you probably could quote him on. I should say he's definitely itching to start off his. Right now, going to get charged there, and almost a bad bump there by Patrick. That's going to stack that outside line. Zach Millett going to be a little squirrely there on that low groove. They're going to have to settle this out, and they will. Millett end up losing a spot there to Ryan Gomes. That high line is still charging and charging nicely. As they're linked here. As next time by, we'll have 6 to go in the stage. Drivers getting a bit in late situations to try something. You can see maybe Hagan thinking, all right, that inside line gets a little bit of a charge. Maybe I'll try something. Inside line still kind of very non-competitive at the moment. This car's fan out for position here. So leading lap 11, 5 to go in the stage. Roberts, Merchant, Hagan, your top 3, as Roberts has been the charger on that inside line. Still those top 3. Wanzing trying to side draft aggressively there on that low line. On the corn panel on Markowski there, just coming out of corner 2. But now you can see that inside line beginning to charge here. We'll actually ride on board here with Seth Wanzing, just to show you what he sees right now. As he's trying to make that work. Obviously numbers, maybe not with the color palette, maybe not working the best, but you can see that checkup there on the high side. Seth Wanzing now going to charge lie here. He's going to be side by side heading off straight here. Former teammates last season at Sunday Money, now Tombstone, battling for the race lead here. Overstead and Pinnell, 2 drivers in points as well. In lockstep, Pinnell almost way up the road there. Gonna have to check it up here. Still a bit squirrely, and that's gonna kill the momentum. Now Patrick Overstead in the sucker hole. So just one little squirrely moment there, and you can see Seth Wanzing ditching the low line here, going to take his net gain here, and John Hagan going to try to jump to the low line with 3 to go this time by. It's Roberts, Merchant, 1-2 is now cars really fanning out of that low line. Lost all momentum. maybe the last charge, as Jonathan Adams, a must-win driver, is just going to kind of check up on that left side to see what he can do here. You can see the 12, Ryan Pennell, kind of the big loser there in the sucker hole. You can see the 31 and the 31 and 22 of Proudfoot and Millet. They're both going to check out and go low here, not wanting to risk it, and in turn going to stay up, get a little bit further back to be safe. But up front, like you can see, Roberts, Merchant, Wanzing, Hagen, Adams, Markowski, but now Adams being the charge on that low side. Cars electing to pit, as you can see. If the track map will load, we'll show you who those drivers are here. There you can see right there. You can see right there the 40 Alfred George and the 13 James Wright. Both going to be put a lap down here. Wright going to go one down. Alfred George a chance to go one down. Wright pit. Alfred George lost the draft, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can stay ahead of the pack here instead of going one down. So as they come off a 3 and 4 for the final time, you can see the white flag in the stage. It's been the Bren Roberts show the past 10 laps. But you know you got some hungry drivers looking to get something here. White flag in stage number 1 in the air. On that low side, they probably will not catch Alfred George for the end of this thing. And Roberts thinking about what line he wants to be. Thought about closing the door at his former team boss. Not going to get the dub. He's going to have to jump back to the high side here. Wanzing ready to go on that low side. Side by side here, coming down the long stretch here. A few cars making moves, trying to go high and low. Inside line beginning to lose some head of steam here as they head off in the 3. Look at John Hagen. He wants to make a move. Roberts now going to successfully close it off. Merging, going to body the 81. As they come off a 3 and 4 here, Roberts going to try to block the lanes. George not going to play a factor as they come across the start-finish line, wrecking in the back. Ryan Pennell, Ryan Gomes, Ross Baxter will check that in a second, but it's going to be Roberts winning stage number 2 with Merchant, Hagen, Markowski, Wright, Wanzing, Kerr, Adams, Oberstadt, Mongold, your top 12. Some cars became casualties. Not casualties, they missed something going. You can see the damage that may have caused. There's Ryan Gomes, the bit torn up. David Wright, he's a bit slowed up as well. Driver that needs some good points. Brandon Palvos avoids it. Ross Baxter, I think he lost his front clip in the action. Definitely damaged front end. Ryan Pennell definitely lost his front clip. Davey Hawk as well. So just give me 2 seconds and we will take a look at that replay here. As we finish up just handling some points here. So just give me 2 seconds here. And now we'll take a look as drivers begin to take their pit stops. We'll see what exactly happened. The caution that came to the end of stage number 1. And you can see how aggressive they were riding. Something was going to probably happen. And we'll see if we can get a look here. So we're focusing on the 3-wide action here between Pennell, Gomes, and Gaiman here. So we'll see if we can get one of those drivers in our peripheral shot here. We'll focus on the 55 if I can find him. There he is. So we'll play it out here. And coming to the end of the stage here. Oh, Gomes and Pennell get touched. Kind of saw Sharp go low, and the rest of the cars kind of fan in and out here. And you can see kind of just what happened as the rest of the cars pile on in, and some cars get good avoidance there to avoid the wreck. So we'll take another look here. We'll get a little closer if we can. Obviously, this is where the spin happened. We'll actually ride on board with the 55 here coming off this corner. As they had a good perspective of what happened. I want to see, was it a checkup situation? The 18 checkup here. So we're riding on board with the 55. And oh, there's that checkup, that speed differential. 55 tried to split the difference. And you can see the effects as he goes around here. 38 of Cody Pennell, another driver in a must-win. He was involved. There's David Wright getting a big connection, along with Ross Baxter, as they all pile on in here in that incident. So we'll take one more look here as well, this time from David Wright here, a little bit further back. And you can see, actually, we'll focus on Sharp here in the 18. If I can find her real fast. There she is. And we'll just watch it one more time here. You can just see again, it's just a checkup. We'll see. Yeah, you can see right there in that low side. So we're going to go maybe with a wider shot here. So pause here and see if we can see what exactly caused that checkup. Yeah, I see just a little bit up there. And even though she didn't really play a major factor in that, it's still just enough to cause what happened back there. You can see the rest of that effect that happened. Ross Baxter, Davey Hawk, Ryan Gomes, all torn up. and going to have to either fix their cars up and keep them going or burn their fast repair this early is something you do not want to do. Back to live action. Up front, you see all the cars electing to pit except for one. Looks like Jared Merchant said he did not pit or he did not hit his box. He kept P2, so it's a bit odd as his timing scoring bar did not rev it up here. Most of the field electing to take fuel only on their stops. Few electing to take 2 tires. Only cars electing to take 4 tires. First one was Tommy Withers, which I gotta say, love. He's running the Juju Kaitsu paint scheme here, the Bubba Wallace Chicago one here, as he's run a lot of Bubba Wallace schemes and also maybe some Reddick McDonald's ones, but he's got the 23. Yeah, pretty scheme here. Well, we got this time as well to talk about paint schemes again. Just want to, as we've talked about in the warm-up about the passing of George Featherplace, Brandon Featherplace's father, from lost his battle with cancer. We do want to show off some of the tribute schemes as well when we got this second. Obviously, the cars may be a bit torn up, but we'll see if we can find either driver here. The 21 at Kevin Feemster. There's 12 Ryan Pinnell right there. We'll see if we get a little closer here just to show you. You can see right there, obviously, with the logo and the hood. And decked out all in the logo on the side here. Yeah, we'll see if we can get a good shot. And also the 21 of Kevin Feemster, who ended up making the logo. You can see just up the road as well. We'll go gyro cam from him just to show you on the hood. Yeah, right there. So obviously, again, ARCS tight-knit community, and we won't harp on it for the rest. We won't bring it up all for the rest of the broadcast just because. But again, ARCS, big community, very tight-knit, and when someone has a bad moment in their life or a family member passed, they all come together and try to make that person's life a little bit better, bring the joys up as everyone is just kind of close friends in this server. But anyway, we are officially going to go green this time by Bren Roberts and Jared Merchant, going to be your top 2 here. It's then going to be Hagen, Wanzing, Sears, Wright, Adams, Oberstadt, Stefan Oberstadt first, Patrick Oberstadt second. I know that yellow's a bit hard to read, but when we try to correct it, STK decided to crash. So sadly, that is going to be a must steal for the broadcast. And then Josh Gaiman is going to round out the top 10 here. Next stage ends, I believe, on lap 40. I'll confirm that number real fast. Yep, stage will end on lap number 40 here, so it's going to be a 20-lap, a little over 20-lap dash to the end of stage number 2. Going to be on Roberts' control here as we take the green flag. We'll see if Roberts can keep the domination. Him and Merchant keep lockstep like they did in stage 1. Keep that lockstep going for stage number 2. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. Green flag is out, and away we go for the start of stage number 2. And as stage number 2 starts off here, it's going to end the same way stage number 1 did, with Bren Roberts and Jared Merchant 1-2 as they continue on here. Again, maybe after what happened at the end of stage number 1, these drivers may be being a bit more cautious. It's a long race here. Some drivers had to burn their fast repairs. Some drivers, especially on that bubble line, needing good races. So overall, keeping the cars repaired and keeping the cars in tip-top shape is what some of these drivers have on their mind. And inside line still being led by Seth Wanzing. It's Wanzing and James Wright in that inside line, along with 3 of Stefan Oberstadt. 1, 2, 3. And you can see that 4 blinking just a tiny bit, and it's always never good in iRacing when you get blinking like that. It can always play a bit of a rough factor in certain spots, but especially in these moments, it can even be more detrimental. Because you never know when a car is trying to push someone, you may end up not pushing. So you got to be careful with how you push and how you make lines work here. But now that inside line beginning to chug forward here, we're right on board here with Seth Johnson right now. Inside line, he leads. Obviously, again, the numbers with the new color change on the graphic not really showing up the greatest, so imagine there's a 9 in that green box as that inside line charges out. Obviously, two-time series champion Seth Johnson is, again, probably one of the longer winless routes he's had in his career, looking to try to get that thing rectified before the playoffs start. As a win here could be good momentum. We'll talk about this. It's David Wright in that 42 machine. As we have to hold that thought for a second. It's Catania in that 24. We saw a little squirrel behind the car. I was about to mention David Wright. As David Wright won the last season. And that momentum, you could argue, even though he was doing good before, he won at Richmond 2 weeks before. But he was in a situation where, with that win, he gave himself some extra momentum in the second win that could argue maybe propelled him towards the front. Looks like we have some moments in the back here. Cars wrecking out as you see cars spinning up and down. Let's see if we can get a better angle. Zach Millett was involved. There's Richie Catania. And I wonder if maybe the bubble burst back here. Zach Millett involved. Looks like Pelletier Sharp had a piece as well. She's a bit slow. Obviously, Zach Millett looks like he got the worst of it. Obviously, Millett locked into the playoffs with his win, so obviously not needing a win here to lock himself in, but still, you don't want to end up getting major damage here this early on. So we'll see if we can take a look here, see what exactly happened. Not seeing anything major on my battle box, but obviously with the front clip torn off here, and you can already see the impact there. So we're going to rewind back just a bit, and oh, it's Austin Mongold getting maybe a bad bump here. So we're going to go to the 4 here of Mongold. If I can ever find him, give me 2 seconds here. Again, a driver that needs a win. And we'll go up to the gyro camera here. Not gyro, sorry, the eye in the sky camera, I should say. If I can find it. There we go. Let's get a little closer if we can. This will do. It's a little high, but it will work for what we need. Keep an eye on that white and red machine in the inside line as we'll play to a 4th speed here. Right behind him. Oh, Cheeseburger Lawrence pushes him right into the 41. And that bush gets him a little bit squirrely. And then the 47 gives him kind of a finish off here. As now we'll play it at full speed. You can see that cars have to fan out here. Good avoidance by the 23. Millet, Baxter, who was involved in the first caution, not so lucky. Obviously, good avoidance there by Millet as well, not to come back up and hit anyone else. Even though more good avoidance by the rest of the field, but also Millet, good on him to kind of keep that car pinned low. But sometimes it just all takes is a bad bump, and that can end up causing major catastrophes here. We'll take another look here as well. This time we'll focus on the 47. We'll actually focus on Zach Millett here in the 31 machine here. Obviously, a little bit further back here. Keep an eye on the screen. You're going to see the bad bump occur already in progress here. Nancy Mills gets doored and gets finished off by David Hawk, who was also involved in the first caution. Luckily, again, good avoidance by Markowski, 71 of battles. George on the brakes there. No one else ends up piling into that 31, making his day from bad to worse there. Would have definitely not been a pretty one. We'll take one more look here as well. Obviously, Catania maybe even sensing something getting out of the pack here. We'll actually ride on board with the 23 of Withers here. Actually, right up with the 12 of Ryan Pinellas. He was right behind the bump here. And we'll actually go on the gyro camera here, and you'll see what he sees in the up from his mirror here. So we'll play it out here, and we'll watch what exactly the 12 saw here. See right there, bump check up, and then there's the finish off hook. Good ones by 47 there, and 12 so they continue on. And I guess why not, since we didn't watch that from Lawrence Pinnell's perspective, we'll also watch it real fast from Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence's perspective, as we'll see what he saw here as well. You can just see a little bit of the blinking already playing face with Austin Mongold. Maybe even a little bit of a motive coming to take it. There's the blink, and there's the bump, and that just overall checks the lineup, and there goes the 4. As you can see the rest of the field kind of spin out there. So back to live action. Zach Millett on pit lane here, trying to fix up his car here. Looks like he elected to go for the damage repair clock, along with Ryan Gomes and Austin Mongold. Not going to burn fast repairs here. Here is the lead pack here. A handful of cars also did elect to come down as well. Tommy Withers leading the train. Everyone else behind him on the board all came in. Most of them topped off for fuel. Some obviously for damage, like Michael Lawrence, and took 4 tires. Even though Lawrence didn't have much damage on the machine, a 15-second stop for him. So overall, relatively unscathed in that incident. But rest of the field coming in fuel only. Obviously, fuel should not be a concern for stage 2, but some drivers like to come in top off. Davey Hawk and Brandon Proudfoot in. Interesting, Proudfoot's coming in again here, but he's going to come in top off, obviously in the back. No real reason to really risk it. Just make sure it's topped off on fuel. Maybe give yourself some extra opportunities for strategies. So we got the one to go in the stage here. It's going to be Roberts, Merchant, row 1, Sears, Hagen, row 2, Adams, Wanzing, row 3, Overstat, Wright, row 4, and Pinnell, Gaiman, your first 5 rows here. To give you kind of a quick update, obviously, since SDK loves me so much, the championship graphic thing isn't going to pop up because it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit busted. So we're going to have to do some hand math here, and obviously when the race ends, we'll try to get you a rough estimation of who the 16 drivers that made it into the playoffs were. We'll try to pull a splash screen when we get there. Obviously, drivers have instant point penalty points that could also play a factor and could maybe allow drivers to lose extra points here as well. So obviously, whatever the finishing order is may not be concrete, as last penalties or anything else could play a factor. So you have to keep an eye on this. But right now, Roberts winning stage 1, gain of 10 net points, and being 15 back coming to the broadcast, as we'll see by quickly the overlay here. You can see coming in tonight, he was only 15 back on the line, getting 10 points, while Davey Hawk got 0. Now puts him 5 points back on Davey Hawk, currently in the last spot. Oberstadt getting 2, bumped him up 4 points clear of Hawk. Markowski getting 7, puts him now 28 up. Those are the only drivers that got stage points in that stage. So if Roberts can win stage 2, he goes from outside to inside the playoff bubble here, bearing another winner. So right now, Roberts on the fast track, just showing you how important it is to get stage points here to make sure you have a chance to get a run here. Real fast, we also like to take this opportunity to thank for everyone here on ABN2 for tuning in here for the ARCS Last Chance 200 here on ABN2. Obviously, there's one in the graphic. Couldn't find ABN2 graphic. Just comedy of errors. But paint score going to pull on off here. It's going to be on Bren Roberts' control here. Green flag is out, and away we go. Cars ditching that low line here. You can see some of the remnants of it right now with Gaiman jump up, so it's just going to be along with Josh Gaiman. Remember, Gaiman was the pole sitter for the ARCS Daytona 500 just many weeks ago here. It was about 16. So 16 weeks ago, he won the pole position. He was on the front row along with Ross Baxter. Obviously, on the high banks, but doing good at the very least right now. Obviously, Briley Wright was the pole sitter for the ABN Ambox Cup Series. He was the pole sitter for that about a year ago right now as we speak. So a lot of good plate experience here in that inside line as they're charging forwards, but it's still Roberts and Merchant 1-2. Briley Wright, not in the race for anything other than pride. Would love to get a win and maybe help out the Constructors battle or Dustin Payne's crew there for Prophecy Motorsports as they push low. High side, though, you can see the 81 of John Hagen. He's got a third line. Sears maybe trying to pull his way in here, trying to make something happen. They'll still be side by side here. Actually, right on board here with the 8. Actually, that's the wrong car. There we go. Actually, it looks like I mucked that up just a bit there. You can see right there, cars fan in. Hagen was let in here, so he's trying to cut to an angle. He switched spots at the last second, but still, it's Bren Roberts leading the way with David Wright. Not David Wright, Riley Wright on that low groove as Josh Gaiman is looking to push him. Wright looking clear, question. Gaiman, or will he jump up to that high line? That's been kind of the prisoner for success here. Right now, staying loyal, but he is going to jump high, leaving Gaiman, now going to jump back low. So maybe try to get a feel for it in that Rebel Bourbon machine, but then jump back low. And that's going to leave Roberts Merchant on that high line unopposed. Look at some of those cars in that low right now. Ryan Pinnell, Alfred George, 2 presidential racing machines. Obviously, they've been lockstep for a lot of plate races over the past couple of years. I know they're going to try to work together here. The going gets tough here to try to get a win for presidential racing, if so be it. Roberts leading the way with Merchant. Switch angles here. There we go. Right, though. Going to charge on the low side here. He wants that lead back here. Both come up game and thinking about maybe kind of saying, hey, there's a hole there. Roberts, the right's going to come up, though. Shut off Roberts. Look at Ryan Pinnell. Look at Roberts. Going to go low. 3 wide as Gaiman kind of became the soccer hole there. So he's going to be in the middle here with a risk of falling further back. The other cars getting out here. Tom Sears going to link up now with the 65 right here. Low line, though. It is still Roberts emerging. So at the end of the day, kind of a swing song effect there. And they've switched lines completely. As Roberts going to go high. Now Merchant going to run the low line. Now Roberts going to come back to the low side. So at the end of the game, it was trying to maybe go high. That makes my heart. There's Seth Wanting. Looks like he's lost the touch of the draft here somewhere in the action. He's going to also blink out to sign. His cars fan out and go around him. Looks like he's going to fall safely to the back here. Did not see anything of note here. Obviously a spin or anything. Obviously, we'll see real fast. 110 to go in the stage. We'll take a quick look at the trap now. Cars noted. You can see no one else here. Is the battle up front. Still raging on. Roberts going to go high. Tries to low. Flying off. Actually, Seth Wanting, he's actually disconnected, so Wanting right now at the moment out of this race. But Roberts now right working together. So kind of a different, same song, different dance. Roberts working from one sub-driver, now working with another sub-driver as Merchant and Pinnell on that low line. Now Ryan's got to be careful. I think he burned his fast repair in the first wreck coming into stage 1. He's got to make sure he keeps that car clean. 9 to go in the stage here. Merchant getting a good charge in by Pinnell. With Pinnell back into stage number 1, getting as many stage points here could be crucial, as they're both going to get a charge ahead of steam here. Alfred George going to follow suit, and you can see Merchant going to go high. Ronell did not follow suit. Wants to stay linked up with his teammate, and we have a caution here. Looks like it's going to be back here. Ryan Gomes involved. There you can see the 22 of Proudfoot. I think Zach Millett was involved again on that low side. It is not Zach Millett. It's the 13 and James right here. You can see him slow there on the apron. Ross Baxter looks like he not possibly got a piece. You can see right there some of the corner up cars. Josh Battles, he's pretty much torn up. That car at least looks like it's still running. Ryan Gomes as well, pretty damaged front end. So we'll take a look here, see exactly what occurred. Looks like it may have been somewhere around Ryan Gomes and Bowie having an incident here. So we're going to go back to Bowie here. Keep an eye on that 34 machine. Obviously, we're going to go with an eye in the sky camera here. When in doubt, the eye in the sky tells all. So we're going to play the floor of speed, and we'll see what exactly happens up front here. And, oh, another bad check up there. So we're actually going to see it right there. The 24 of Catani and the 3 of Stefan Oberstadt get together. That gets a 71, the 3 on the inside line. Bowie, good avoidance, taking the road course there. Going to go through the Le Mans chicane. But there you can see right there, Baxter gets some help there by the 13 of Wright. As they play it out, rest of speed. Again, Bowie just mows the grass, but keeps the car clean. But other cars not so lucky. So now that we know what exactly caused this, we'll take a look exactly at what was the cause. So we'll get a little bit closer up this time by keeping an eye on the machine. Actually, we saw a bad bump, but we'll keep an eye on this one shot here. And you're going to see right there, cars fan out, and oh, it was Wright or a Kevin Feemster, and I do wonder, so we'll take a gyro camera next. As Lawrence gets through, and the rest of the cars take bad pieces of licks there. Cars fan out. So we'll actually now focus on an onboard shot right with James Wright will be a good perspective here. So we'll focus on James Wright here, get an onboard shot of him, and actually instead of him, we'll actually focus on Stefan Oberstadt in the 3 machine, and we'll wind it just a bit here. Coming out at 2 here, we're going to play it out. You're going to see right there behind the Bandit Racing machine. Again, Oberstadt driver was on the bubble right now by 4 points. There's the checkup. You can see right there, just gets on the corner panel, hooks Catania. At that point, tons of cars just fan out. Big lick by Battles. Baxter gets hooked, but luckily doesn't get hit by anything. Great avoidance by Davey Hawk, though, as well to avoid some chaos in that incident. Take one more look here, this time at Josh Battles. We'll focus on him through this accident as well. You can see right there again, just the checkup. Katani tried to follow Feemster, got corner paneled by Oberstadt, and there you can see big lick there by Battles. Smeal hooks it through. Good avoidance by the rest of the crew. And one last look, as I did say, great wreck avoidance by the 28 of Davey Hawk. We'll actually focus on Davey Hawk here, and we'll ride on board here with Davey Hawk as we see his incident from his perspective here. Just riding in the back, trying to avoid the chaos. Right there is the checkup. Doesn't really fully stop, doesn't fully lift. Splits the difference, but for two cars. Good avoidance by Hawk. He keeps it clean and keeps his car in tip-top shape. So back to live action. Some cars electing to pit there, others staying out. Ryan Pennell going to stay out here. Drivers that need stage points. As he gets a spot. Look to see who elected to come in here. Some notable names include Jonathan Adams, Kenny Reel, Tommy Withers. Rest of the crew behind him all coming in. Obviously some with damage. But Ryan Pennell going to be our race leader here as the sun is slowly setting in virtual Daytona. As we race on. So we should get the one to go that time by. We shall get the one to go this time by. It's going to be Pennell, Merchant, George, Roberts, Wright, that's fun. Briley Wright and David Wright. The right row, row 3. Gaiman Sears, row 4, and Feemster Markowski, row 5. And again, keep an eye on the color palette right there. Some of those drivers in the yellow, not mathematically locked in per se, but getting good runs would help them as we'll pull up the points again here. Going to see this graphic at least a couple times here. We'll bring it up again. Gaiman, obviously 64 clear here, getting an extra couple stage points should permanently lock him in. Tom Sears, 40 as well, not really in the danger zone. Kevin Feemster as well, probably safe at the moment, currently in 10th position, but again, getting some extra points wouldn't hurt. Then you got Markowski and Wright only being 6 ahead and not getting any stage points last time by could be crucial. Getting at least a couple here to give himself a little extra cushion. Markowski obviously now up to 28 above the cut line in that spot. Brent Roberts and Ryan Pennell both below the cut line. Roberts now being 5 back on Hawk. Not showing up the graphic, obviously did the math in the head. And Ryan with getting 10 points stage 1, and even Ryan Pennell not getting his stage points in the first stage. If he can hang on for these next 5 laps at the end of 40, he could get himself 10 points and bring that gap from 21 back to 11 back, and be in a spot where, again, could be, if he doesn't find a way to victory lane, could still point his way in if catastrophes happen around him. So his pace car is going to get on ready here to pull on off. It's going to be on the control of Ryan Pennell on that low groove. Green flag is out, is in the restart zone, and away we go for what could be the final time in stage number 2. Pennell thinking about going high there, but you can see that deadly combination of Merchant and Roberts on that low groove. They're synced up. They're going to work that high side while Presidential Racing is going to work that low groove. This is the concern right now. There's no help for Pennell and George. Next car coming is David Wright, and you can see without that help the issues that's caused as they will drift back, and they're not going to have much time to really get linked up here. And that's something you'll see early on. Until like 5 to go, 10 to go. If we get a late restart, cars are not going to be willing to stay back there and wait. They're going to push and push to get towards the front. And even worth noting, we have a quick caution there. That could be the end of stage 2 here. Go back here. There's spinning. It's Battles. Withers looks like he's slow in the incident. Jonathan Adams has a piece. Ryan Gomes has a piece. 41 involved as well as we have a caution here. See if that connects to the end of stage 2 here while we wait for that confirmation. Do a quick look at some stage points here just in case. Waiting for a wreck here to kind of prove up here. Sorry, just trying to find a replay here. So Again, just give me 2 seconds here. I think it is going to be on stage 2. So we're going to look at the yellow flag here. And then I'm going to do some quick math here. We'll take a look at the caution in a second. So just give me 2 seconds here. So we'll focus on Cody Pennell here in the incident. It looks like he had an off track here. There we go. And we're already seeing a bit of the incident here. Play factor here. And you already can see the piece there. That's the angle that shows what happened. So we're going to rewind back here. You can see it looks like it's James Wright getting a bad bump possibly. So we're going to focus on Wright here. Play it at full speed. And there you can see just a bad bump, and then a bunch of cars get hip checked. Proudfoot gets a piece. Good. Smeal keeps it going. I mean, not Smeal. Wright keeps it going. Former car run there. Battles gets a piece as the rest of the cars file in. Can't confirm that is the end of stage number 2, by the way, that we just saw. So we'll do some tabulations in a second here. But there you can see the piece of the incident in question as it played out and played in factor there. We'll take another look here as well. This time, again, maybe from perspective of one of the cars involved there. Looks like it was, who was the one that gave the push there? We'll see in a second here. I think it was Jonathan Adams, if I'm not mistaken. The bad bump came from Adams, possibly? Yeah, it was Adams. So we're going to focus this. We're actually going to ride on board here with Adams here. So we'll ride on board here with Adams. Watch the side here. Oh, that was a check up. Someone jumped in the low line. It caused the brakes to pile in. And, oh, big lick by Patrick Oberstadt there. And you can see the rest of the effects there. So just one car electing to go low, jacked up the whole line, and that caused the jackknife that caused the incident in question. Taking a look here as well. Obviously, that's Austin Mongold. Looks like I'm getting a scenic camera there. Obviously, can't find Mongold. So we'll go maybe Cody Pennell here. Trying to find a perspective here as this wreck is just very elusive. Looks like the replay may have broke. So we're going to go back to live here just for a second here and see if we can get that one more time here real fast. Let's take one more look here again. You can see right there the off track right there, but you can see cars avoiding. We'll actually focus on Josh Battles here as he got a piece too. There you can see the checkup. Cars fan out here. You ever get hit checked. Just the chaos that occurred there in stage number 2. So back now to live action. Some cars electing to stay out and some cars staying in here. As we are going to probably get the green this time by here. Hagan, Reel, Pennell, Mongold, Gaiman all electing to stay out here. We'll see if we get the one to go this time by or not. Obviously, we're checking the replay. Got a little bit mixed up here. They're getting spanned out here, so we should get the one to go. So it'll be Hagan, Reel, Mongold, Pennell, Gaiman, blanked on the name, Bowie, Feemster, Sears, Markowski, Hawk, your top 10 here. So I just checked a few things. They're just checking points and all of that. We are going to see the green flag at this time by. And thank you for everyone tuning in here on a Sunday evening for the ARCS Last Chance 200 here on ABN2. My name is Kevin Young, as always, bringing the action for the past many weeks, and here to bring it to the end of the season here on ABN2. Hagan, Reel, going to be your top 2, front 2 here come to restart. B-Tron locking out 3 of the first 4 spots there as they look poised to keep their domination on the plate tracks going here, as they've been the team to beat on these plate tracks. So you should see the green flag this time by as the pace car is going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch by Hagen as the rest of the cars file in here. You can see Cody Pennell going to jump high there. Gaiman going to stay on the low side. Gaiman was a V-Tron car last year. This time linked up with Gear Cats, but there's some contacts. The V-Tron can't maybe. Going to get some help on the side here. Oh, Mongol just clips the wall there just a bit. That's going to cause a little bit of a check up there. Cars to file in. You can see right there a big gap, though, between Pennell and Bowie's bumper there. As eventually they'll get caught up here. Because John Hagen leads the final stage here. Driver that is most likely going to be the regular season champion. Also, Mongol with a few blink outs. Going to have to be careful. Scars fan out here. It's Hagen, Real, Pennell, Mongol, top four there. You can see Brandon Bowie there in fifth. Rider boy Kevin Feemster here. Just in a second, you can see he's pushing the ever-loving you-know-what out of Josh Gaiman. Obviously, Feemster, one of those drivers in yellow. Early in the moment in the playoffs, and probably poised to make it. Obviously, last year was basically on the outside looking in at the very least. We had a fight tooth and nail. Luckily, got his way in by mathematical anomalies. So obviously, a lot more comfortable this season, so doesn't have to worry about the pressure here per se. Obviously, not fully locked in, but obviously getting the win here to momentum with definitely helped him out. He's been a sneaky top 10 driver throughout the year, as he's been doing a good job. As that low line now checked up here. But it's still worth noting that Mongol's got the but Bowie is still not really fully. The two line power cars in Bowie and the 14 have not really so it looks like he's checking out here. Maybe sensing some danger, maybe just got a bad bump. He's now coming back in, though, so he's not fully going to the back. Gaiman going to jump to the high side. This game will follow suit there. Now that low line could even lose more cars here, as now Barkowski is going to be the lead train here. Position 2, Baxter, Bowie, and Pennell all going to, not Pennell, I should say, Tom Sears going to take that low line with Davey Hawk. Now they're going to try to be the fortunate crew to try to charge to the front and maybe try to break up that V-Tron 1, 2, 4 there. Inside line now with Baxter beginning to push very nicely here. Car still fanning out in the far shot here. Look at Mongol, though, maybe getting a little bit squirrely up the road there. Obviously, Carolina Beagle and B-Tron do have a little bit of a partnership, to at least a small degree. Some of the drivers run together in the HCL Cup Series. So they do know each other. Look at that no line, though. Jared Merchant and fucking Bren Roberts. Oh, that was a bit of a bad line there to say. But Merchant and Roberts working towards the front here. Charging up with Zach Millett. Look at Ross Baxter as well. It was such a big move. You don't see cars really thread that middle there. It caught me off guard. Austin Mongol going to jump high and low as well. Merchant, Roberts trying to get towards the front here again. Now they're going to lose momentum. They were flying like prime Dale Earnhardt there. Roberts going to be able to kind of find his way back in the line. Meanwhile, Merchant going to go low. So they got a net gain for both drivers because they both came in under the pit stop sequence at the end of the stage. And now they have slowly carved the way back up front. But Ross Baxter, we caught that move at the tail end. He has now taken the lead. It is number 60 for line power. And the driver that at the moment was 21 back, I don't think he got any stage points if I'm not mistaken. We'll have obviously some math and proof to prove it at the end. But right now, though, Ross Baxter leading the way. A win obviously would change everything. Change the cut line as well. So Baxter leading the way, Hagen in second, and then 3 part-time entries in third, fourth, and fifth. And then Austin Mongol there as well. Line power on that inside line, trying to get up to their teammate and Ross Baxter and provide some support here. As Baxter just controlling the lanes, but this is the concerning factor. When you got this Dr. Pep machines in lockstep here, 2-3, obviously Cody Bell, the only odd man out in that puddle. But it can be a bit hard because all it takes is Hagen snapping his fingers, or Mongol snapping his fingers, or even the 74 snapping his fingers saying, hey, let's go low, and we can make a move and get around you. So they got, Baxter's kind of in an odd spot right now. He needs that cavalry of line power to get up to him and get to him quickly so he can really make something happen here. And they are coming now with their Camrys. You can also see a few drivers that lost touch with the draft. We'll actually check up on them now. As you can see right there, it's 23 and a few others. Withers and Patrick Oberstadt. Josh Battles obviously came down pit lane for an unscheduled stop, and he is now officially one down. Speaking of, as we watch this battle here, we do have, as you can see, 3 wide in the back. I'll have to hold the recap mode right there. Roberts in the sucker hole along with Ryan Pinnell. Pinnell going to fall suit here, probably going to go to the low side, but Roberts beginning to drift here. Again, either he's drifting or he's trying to make a third line work in the middle groove, but has no takers at the moment. He's going to pop back in, though, right in front of Catania. Back up to the front, though, you can see low line now here, led by Bowie. Bowie and Sears on the low line. Ross Baxter, so it's a line power 1-2 at the moment. Question is, will Baxter stay allegiant on the high side, or does he want to link up with the teammates on the low side? Look at that right there as well. 74, a real trying something, maybe trying to leave that 60 out the dry on the high side. Mongold got shuffled out, though, as Gaiman's going to slot in. So Mongold going to lose that spot, giving another bullet-less gun to Beatron, as they will now lose, and Mongold will fall 1 back here on lap 48. It is Baxter and Hagen 1-2, with Real in third. And now that low line beginning to charge again, so maybe it was a good thing that Baxter didn't jump low at the time, but obviously could be a bit of a sitting duck. Look at that side draft by Cody Pinnell there at 38. Trying to get low and trying to make something happen here. Remember, if this does stay green, green flag pit stops loom. Well, I may have just jinxed it. We have a caution, and it's not them. It's not them. It's not them. Not seeing exactly who it was for. A lot of cars kind of slow here. Maybe, no, because they were below the pack anyway. I think it may have been David Wright, possibly, but his car looks clean, so right now I'm not 100% what caused the caution. Oh, well, there explains the answer. David Wright. It was David Wright. But obviously he kept it pointing in the right direction, so maybe a quick call there, but obviously don't want it to become something worse here. So we're going to rewind just a bit here. Right to about here. And then we're going to go into the eye in the sky camera. Chopper cam. And we're going to play it out at a 4th speed here. So keep an eye on that red and white machine on the low line here. Oh, it's another bad bump, I'm going to guess. Obviously right behind it, I think it's Tommy Withers, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it may not be Withers, but regardless, you're going to see the bad bump there just on the corner panel, right in the Stefan Oberstadt. Oberstadt nowhere to go, and we'll play at full speed now. Luckily, those two stay on the high side. Since it is technically 2 cars, caution will be thrown, and luckily no one else really piled in there. So we'll take another look as well. Obviously, we saw what happened with David Wright. We'll take 2 looks here as well. It was actually the 13 was behind him, I believe. Actually, it was the... Nope, it was the 12 of Ryan Pinnell. So, obviously, kind of hard eye in the sky to camera to tell, but it was the 12 of Ryan Pinnell. So, we'll actually ride on board here with Ryan Pinnell. And we'll check from his perspective here. Again, driver that's in a needs points, probably in a must-win spot now. So, play that live. He's coming on up. Similar tail we've seen before, just to check up there. And even then, it's not even really Ryan Pinnell's fault, so you can't even put the fault on Pinnell there. As we take one more look as well there, you can just see it was a spot where just awkward situation. I think Wright wanted to make a move to the high side, per se, and he ended up kind of just colliding with the 42 there. So we'll take one more look. This time we'll focus on Stefan Oberstadt here in the 3. As we'll wind out, he was just an instant bystander on that high side. So we'll play it out full speed here just to show you what happened. That's the flash forward button. We'll rewind just a bit here, and we'll play it out again. And you're just going to see on the high side again. Wright kind of goes live, maybe trying to make that move, and ends up still getting just a bit upsettled, though, by the 12's bump, and both of them get pitched on that high groove. So back to live action. Pit load, a very crowded place here. There's David Wright, but a handful of cars electing to come in. Ross Baxter leading the groove in, along with Josh Gaiman, Brandon Bowie, and pretty much everyone else behind Ross Baxter in position. So P6 on back all electing to come in to get service and fuel only. Only car elected to take any sort of tires was Tom Sears, which is interesting, but he wanted 4 tires, so he will take 4 tires. At the moment, there is possibly some concerns at fuel at the very least, as if this was the final pit stop to get to the end, all cars would have been on pit lane, but yet Hagan, Reel, Pinnell, Adams, Wright, all electing to stay out. Now, that could be 2 questions. We don't 100% know the fuel load here. We are just kind of guesstimating at the number, but we know they can make it at least 15 laps on 1 tank of gas. They can make it 20 laps on 1 tank of gas. And then when we get the green, we will have probably 28 laps to go here. And counting. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays. Can Hagan, Reel, and the rest of the field stay up? But then again, you look a little bit further back. Millet, Merchant, Kerr, Lawrence, Markowski, all coming in a second time here. So I was going to say maybe it's a spot where the top 6, we're going to stay 5, we're going to stay out, get some extra fuel, and maybe try to save it. But I think we're in the latter camp. I think right now we're in a situation where there's still a green flag pit stop that looms if we stay green. But the rest of the field obviously coming in the top off, as that camera is not going to show us anything. Ryan Pinnell misses his box here, you can see. Actually, Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence shouldn't throw shame on a driver that didn't do anything. But rest of the cars coming in just to top off. Some getting damage repair, though, as well. So, like, looks like Roberts and Wright, they didn't come in. They came in, but looks like, actually, they didn't come in. Sorry. Millet was the first to come in, along with Kerr, Markowski, Lawrence, Gomes, Sharp, George, and Pinnell all in. And topping off. So, makes me wonder what the fuel tank is at, but it's safe to assume it's probably around 30 laps. Maybe a little bit high, a little bit low, or maybe just slightly low. And those cars are going to try to save it if we go green. Obviously, we get another quick caution. I assume pit lane is going to be a very crowded place. But for right now, there are still some fuel questions on the rest of this field here. And those cars topping in, are they going to have enough to make it to the finish line? But up front, it's going to be Hagan, Reel, row 1, Beatron locking out that front row. Then it's going to be Carolina, Beagle Racing, not in row 2. It's going to be Cody Pinnell in row 2, but it's also going to be another Beatron car and Jonathan Adams in row 2. Then it's going to be Wright and Baxter in row 3. Gaiman and Bowie in row 4. Hawk and Feemster, your first 5 rows here. And if Adams or Baxter find a way to victory lane, it could shake up this playoff very exponentially. So I have to keep an eye on that. So this pace car going to get on ready here to pull on off here. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane here. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch there by Hagan. Hagan reeled up. And you can see Adams and Baxter there. Again, that inside line really not getting the giddy up and go. You see James Wright alone with Josh Gaiman. But it gets going eventually, but by the time it does, most cars will eventually elect to pull down and will bail out. So it's a game on that low groove right now. It's pretty much a single file line here up front, as you know, again, possible fuel concerns, maybe knowing Hagan Reel know they can't. Yes, Cody Pinnell clips the wall there. That's going to cause a checkup, and that is going to be a caution here. Cars fan in, cars fan out. That could be the big one. Brandon Bowie, Ryan Gomes involved. The rest of the cars fan out here. And you can see one car revving up his engine here in that camera shot here, and just towed. It was Cody Pinnell, I believe it was. And that, we saw on the wide shot what exactly happened there. As Brandon Bowie got a big lick there. We saw exactly what happened on the wide shot. Jonathan Adams possibly was involved, though. He had to tow. And I think we can see, as we pull the replay up here just in a second here, you can just, you saw exactly the cast happen. It just takes one, sometimes a bad bump, and it can end a lot of people's days. So we'll take a look here at the incident. There you can see the factor there. I don't think it was Cody Pinnell's, well, we'll see here in a second. As usually the eye in the sky will tell us, and it's going to be Adams and Pinnell here. As we'll play it out for the 4th speed here. Pinnell's that third car in line. Adams the 4th one. There's the bump. That shoots Pinnell presumably into the wall here. You see, there's the bump to give him the wall. Baxter gives Adams a shove. They both hit there, and there's the accordion effect. Bowie gets involved. At that point, cars are ping-ponging. Tom Sears, good wreck avoidance there to go low. But you can see at that point, it becomes a track blocker. Bowie gets hit by, I think that's Stefan Oberstadt. You see that purple car of Gaiman try to get through the low side there as well as the rest of the cars fan out. Bowie, now we'll play it at full speed just to show you what happened, but Bowie hits the wall. Big lick there by Lawrence as the rest of the cars fan out and try to avoid this incident. So we'll take a second look here as well. This time we'll ride a little bit closer here, right where Adams happened. And actually we'll ride on board here. We usually wait to get these camera shots here, but I think Ross Baxter is going to give us a good sight here. So as we wind out, we're actually going to go with a nice gyro cam, a nice onboard shot here of the 60 Ross Baxter. If I can ever find his name. There he is. So we're going to watching aboard here with Ross Baxter. So you're just going to see what exactly happens here on that high groove. Adams gives a bump to Pinnell. That checks it up. Baxter gets in that, and you can see right point, it just becomes a stacker as the rest of the cars fan in there to try to make pieces, and then you can see the rest pile in. Lawrence gets a good piece on the 34, spins him like the top. And that happens. We'll actually take a second look at that as well, riding another onboard shot, this time with Jonathan Adams, as he's also going to give us a good perspective of what happened there as well. And again, it's what's kind of caused a lot of these accidents tonight. It's just a situation where maybe a slight checkup happens or a slight incident occurs, and then cars have to fan out. So you can see right here, there's the checkup. 38 gets into Adams. Adams then get collided. Adams avoids it for the most part, but you can see some damage or something occurs as he is low and obviously has to tow to pit lane here. As you can see the front clip, there's Alfred George cutting the grass, but you can see that front effect as you can see the front end pretty torn there. I think it may kill the engine in that incident. We'll take one more look at this incident as well. We'll focus on the 34 of Brandon Bowie here. As we'll go a little bit further back here, we'll focus on Bowie. Again, car 5 in line there. Again, there's the checkup, there's the bump. Cars fan out. And at that point, yeah, Bowie just gets hit by 41 of Patrick Oberstadt. Good avoidance by Bradley Wright, and then bam, that's the lick that sends him into a spin. Gomes gets a piece as well, and David Wright nowhere to go as well in that high groove. And that is what caused the caution tonight. So back to live action. Bowie keeps it going. Tom Sears is going to be in the race lead right now. Again, handful of cars electing to come in that time by the top off. John Hagan and crew, obviously Hagan on down came in and pitted. Sears and Ryan Pinnell, the only two electing to stay out, both came in at the previous caution though. So we'll see how it all plays out. Remember, if we do get more cautions, drivers also have to think about overtime. That we do have some reports here as well. 38's wheel possibly disconnected supposedly. That what also could have caused the incident as well. So we'll have to note that in the time of incident, what sacked that up. Obviously an odd situation all around. But if Cody Pinnell's wheel did have a bit of a disconnection there, at least from what we're hearing inside race chatter here. There's Cody Pinnell right there as he's still in pit lane. If he did have a disconnection on the wheel, that could have easily caused him to hit the wall and then caused the checkup stack up. But we'll have to see again through reports and all that. But up front, Sears, Pinnell, Hagan, Gaiman, Reel, Baxter, Oberstadt, Roberts, Patrick Oberstadt, Jared Wright, your top 10. And this is where it gets kind of fun. 25 to go officially, that time by. This race is flying by at the moment. In that top 10, only one driver is officially locked in. Sears, you can say Sears, Gaiman, both looking good at the moment, at least to make it on points. But again, you never know in this day and age. Outside of them, if Ryan Pinnell wins, that shakes things up. Baxter, Oberstadt, Roberts, either Oberstadt win, that could shake things up. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. Meanwhile, to give a quick update on who's in this race and who is not at the moment. At the moment, we have 29 cars still running at the moment. Adams with a still lengthy repair clock here, along with Cody Pinnell now leaving. We'll see if their cars are still good enough to continue. But you can see right there on the timing and scoring board, Cody Pinnell's 2 down at the moment. Austin Mongold's 3. Josh Battles is 8. Jonathan Adams is at least 3 down as well. So it could be day done for some of those drivers, at least for a chance to find victory lane. So at the moment, we have 24 cars still on the lead lap. Rich Tanya, I believe the first one down. So 24 cars still in the shot to win this thing. As we're coming to the green flag. Control is going to be on Tom Sears as he enters the restart zone. Green flag is out, and away we go again. Good launch by the 14. You can see Hagen going to quickly jump up to that high line along with Real and Gaiman as everyone ditches the low line. Sears did not get the memo as he's now going to be pinned on that low groove. Ross Baxter thinking about maybe joining his teammate and team boss there in Sears, but thinks better of it as Sears continues to drift and continues to drift more and more here. As there's no help coming. As you can just see, as we still focus on Sears here, no help coming for a while here. And he's finally going to get some help by David Wright, but that is at least 10, 11 spots lost. So you've got to be careful on these restarts to make sure you stay in touch and lockstep. Even though it's not really even Sears' fault. I say stay in touch and lockstep, but it's not even Sears' fault, as it was just a situation of just cars bailing on him to no fault of his own. So by the right, trying to keep the line there. He keeps it clean, keep green. He'll stay in the middle hole, though, as cars fan out. David Wright, though, there is Budweiser machine on that low groove with Sears and Patrick Overstat now leading the low. I mean, now you can see cars below. Roberts, along with, well, we'll see in a second here, Baxter, Roberts, and a few others electing to jump low here. Roberts now going back to the high side. Patrick Overstat now in the middle hole here. Not an ideal spot. Gonna have Jared Merchant, though. Merchant maybe trying to re-link up with Roberts here. So low groove right now led by Ross Baxter. Baxter takes his chances on the low groove with the help of Sears and Wright on said low groove. But up front, it is still Ryan Pinnell, John Hagen, and Kenny Reel, your top three. And then Gaiman and Roberts, the top five as they come across the line. Look at that low line begin the charge here. Baxter, Sears, moving on the low side here. That low line beginning the charge here as well. Just focusing, almost while I was silent there for seconds, I'm just watching moves here. It's almost very methodical launching. You're seeing desperation. You're seeing drivers seeing the chance to slip through their fingertips right now. It is almost poetic in a way as we hit 21 laps to go here. Pinnell, Hagen's really his top three, but Baxter and Sears, line power linked up. Pinnell really the only odd man out in that group. He's got two Fords behind him. He's got a Ford Contingency behind him, as each team has two manufacturers lined up with it. Two Toyotas, two Fords, different teams have different manufacturers for a total of 6. But now line power on that groove. The team linked up in the camera camp would be Gaiman and Gearcats. This time by 20 laps to go. Can 600, now over 600. Hang on to this thing. Switch a third in A-squared competition. Over B, obviously do not want to cash those checks before they are written. Good job there on that high side, but he's got some hungry B-Tron cars behind him. Inside line getting some momentum here. You can see right there with Ross Baxter. Pinnell a little bit high, trying to maybe find some extra lines here, trying to do something. Austin Mongol looks like he's got pushed out of line there. He will get back in the line here. No effect, 19 laps to go here. Hagen, Reel, low side. can see a little bit, as I'm watching right now, a little bit of a cushion there, right there. We'll cut the chair Merchant just to show you. You can see a bit of a pack here as we ride on board with Merchant, currently stationed in P9. Just trying maybe to find a lane, trying to make something happen here. You want to stay nose to tail here through these long stretches here. 18 laps to go. Inside line now beginning to charge at least a little bit better. Still a little ways away. Oh, you can see it right there, though. Baxter, he wants the lead. Side by side, off of 2. Just can't get it to stick. As we come to the line, there'll be 17 laps to go. You can see in the far shot 3 wide between Gomes, Bowie, and George, but they'll get it settled out here. So right on board here with Ryan Pinnell just to show you what he sees in his mirror right now. Just trying to run the lines, trying to make something happen here. We've got a nice little shove there by John Hagan. This will push him clear here. Give him some room. You do not want to push in the corners. Hagan showing that experience right there. Not to push him in the corners. Let him get his bearings. Hang on. Come to the line. 16 laps to go. Pop up there. You can see Pinnell maybe getting on the horn there. You saw his race chatter box pop up for a second because you can look at the track map right now. One is Zach Millett. Maybe kind of guiding lines here, telling Millett, hey, pick a line, pick a lane, try to stay to the left if you want, but don't block my lane. Pick the lane and we'll try to work around you basically. There you can see on the low side there, Zach Millett is, as they will work his way around, but that is going to really muck up that low groove. As they now will fan in, though, and get around Millett. Millett will pin it low, but that will kind of check up that inside line just a bit as we are now coming to 15 laps to go. It feels like the calm for the storm, and remember, there's also maybe some slight fuel concerns. They came in at 50 and 49 respectively. They didn't come up and top up again, though, as Pinnell really up the road there, almost hits the wall. And that is going to cause a bit of a checkup here that could factor in the inside line. To finish my point, though, there could be some concerns if Pinnell doesn't have the economy, didn't save enough. Does he have enough to make it to the finish line here? Really running to that high line of the groove there. That is a sketchy part because if he goes just a bit too high and Hagan gets enough of it, it could cause catastrophe with him getting spit under the nose. 14 laps to go, riding aboard with the 81 right now, John Hagan. Obviously last one at the Chicago Street Course 2 weeks ago. And you can see right there, Ross Baxter, we're going to get out of this angle here for a second. Baxter wants the lead as they'll be side by side off corner 2. That low line gets the charge through the corners, but they seem to lose it on the straights. You can just see on that low line, it's a mishmash of manufacturers. But they're worth noting, they're all Toyotas in the first 4 spots. This time by 13 laps to go, it is still Pinnell leading the way. Hagan, can he reel though? Looks like he's getting some pieces here. Inside line charging. Focus on Tom Sears here just in a second here. We'll see what he sees right now. Car second line on that inside line right now. Driver that would be happy to keep it where it is. He knows his teammate Ross Baxter needs probably a win. He also knows that car leading an outside line, and maybe a friend, if you want to say it, with Ryan Pinnell, also needs a win. Remember, his last win came at Atlanta about a year and some change ago, actually over a year, so he's hungry for a win as well. Don't count out Tom Sears if he gets a spot here. He's always lurking for a reason. try to find a way to victory lane. This time by 12 laps to go, matching our race leader number. We're going to catch possibly another car, as you'll see as we open the track map. It is going to be, I believe, Cody Pennell. It is Cody Pennell. Should be the last car they catch. There may be a chance they get the Lawrence as well. This thing concludes. If it stays green, more importantly. Cars getting in a little more antsy there. You can see it a little bit further back. It's just right where Brandon Bowie is. 3 abreast here. They'll slot back in high here, but you can see the lines beginning to kind of fan out and make choices. I see John Hagan. I'm keeping an eye on Hagan. It almost feels like a when, not if, because you can see him getting some cleaner on the nose, trying to make sure that thing doesn't overheat, but at the same point, you can see him getting a little bit pokey. Like he wants to make something happen here. Right there again, he thinks up, but oh, Sears tries to aggressively check up, and that's going to get right in the sharp. They keep it, they fan out, they all keep it clean, but you could see almost Sears in real touch. That end up almost causing a catastrophe. He's going to check up that low line and kill the Magtech crew. Right and Sharp almost ended up colliding. But we keep it clean, and that's going to basically re-rack this a bit here. Here's Cody Pennell they have caught. That low line has now officially lost all momentum. They're going to have to get re-geared up. But the top and outside line still keeping it abreast. It's Pennell, Hagan, Reel, Gaiman, Riley, Wright, your top 5, as we now hit 10 to go. Still well over 25 miles to a finish, if not needing overtime as well. Again, we'd like to take this opportunity as well. Just one more last time, thank you for tuning in here on ABN2 for the ARCS Last Chance 200 for the ARCS Midwest Barbecue A² Cup Series. At the end of this race, 16 drivers will have to make their way to the playoffs. Car hitting the wall on the outside line. We stay green, and now there's a caution. James Wright involved. James Kerr was the one that hit the wall, and Zach Millet wasn't involved at all. But you saw that right there on the wide shot while we were doing the self-promo, and that is going to be a caution that's going to re-grip this field. We're going to take a look exactly on the replay what happened. You can already see it 3 wide, and actually it wasn't even Kerr's wall tap that caused this. But we are going to see what exactly caused his wall tap here. So we're going to go out here. You can already see them skating around Cody Pennell. Obviously, Pennell doesn't have a factor in this one. We're going to go with an eye in the sky camera here and play it out. Keep an eye. We'll pause here a second. You can already see what I think occurred this. Another checkup incident. We'll play it at 4 speed for a second here. Keep an eye on that 89 of Merchant right there in that 89 machine. 3 has to get on the brakes just a bit. After that little touch, that causes the next car to get in. And then we'll play at full speed. That checkup gets the cars a little bit squirrely, and that goes all the way down to the Kerr hits the wall. And then the 13, the 71 end up touching, ending the 13 into the wall. So a little checkup right up the road there in the buoy. That caused a bigger checkup, cars fanning out, and end up causing the incident in question that brings out the caution. We'll take another look here as well, and that caused Kerr to hit the wall. And in turn, while they were stacking out, it also involved, as you see here, 13 get hooked there by the 71. Big lick, though, by James Wright. Obviously just looking for a checkered flag. And that thing is pretty torn up right now. Battles, and a driver that was in a must-win. Multiple down, though. Just a big lick overall. We'll take one more look at this as well real fast. We'll focus on James Kerr here. Actually, we'll focus on, not James Wright, we'll focus on Josh Battles here, as he gets a good view of this. So we're wind back just a bit. You can see him going around right there. We'll go back down the backstretch here and play it out. You're going to see the facts happen here. Cars fanning out. Cars make moves. There's the checkup. There, 75 hits the wall, and then 13 and 71 get together. A bit unrelated to the Kerr, and that brings out the caution. So back to live action. James Kerr obviously coming down the pit lane here, as obviously he needs to fix up his car. He's joined by the 84 Bren Roberts, Tommy Withers, and a few others down pit lane here. This is going to shake things up. Ryan Pennell, but worth noting, Ryan Pennell had to pit along with Tom Sears. Maybe we're good to go to the finish line, but now coming in to make sure they have enough to get to the finish now. They should be good if we get a green white checkered, though, and multiple green white checkered attempts, so there's no concern on that. But they will both have to get up their top 5 spots, top off on fuel. That will give John Hagen the race lead, and it will be a 1-2 for Beatron in the first 2 rows. Then it's Gaiman and Wright will be row 2. It's kind of up down the point situation as well. At the moment, if my math is roughly correct, it's going to be close between Roberts and Hawk right now. Should be a couple points separating him. Don't have the full number in front of me. Baxter to get some stage points as well, but I don't think, obviously, still going to have to be back and do some math here. We'll do some math and get some numbers at the end of the interviews. And we'll try to get you a full 16 before this race is done. Hopefully our race control and ARCS community can give us that number. At least provisionally top 16 here before we send off the broadcast. But right now, at the moment, it's close between Roberts and Hawk. Baxter is within maybe 12, 13 points, maybe 15, of trying to get into this point situation. And then you got Patrick Overstep in probably a must-win right now. Michael Joy probably in a must-win. Stefan Overstep right now currently sitting in 7th as we got the 1 to go that time by. Currently was 2 above the line right now. Got extra stage 22, now comfortably 4 above it. If he can stay in the top 10, he should be good. Markowski probably is good to make it as well. At the moment, Wright is a bit of a question mark. Where he currently sits right now, currently in 11th, not bad, but other cars around him running in that spot could chase him down. Again, it's all speculation right now. We don't have an advanced number right now. I can't get you a full number because of stage points and whatnot. Again, we'll try to get you an update from the other broadcast. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to reiterate, we're going to try to get you a number and try to tell you who the top 16 is before we sign off on the broadcast tonight so those drivers can know. Obviously, it's unofficial. There could be more penalty points. There could be other things. There could be factors that play a factor. But preliminarily, we want to get you a top 16 before we sign off. But it's going to be Hagen and Real row 1, Gaiman Wright row 2, Baxter Merchant row 3, Oberstedt Markowski row 4, Oberstedt Bowie your first 5. And only one locked in to the playoffs. That's the only drivers that you could say are just looking for a checker flag, not looking for points or anything, is Hagen, Real, Wright, Merchant, and Bowie. 4 of them are fill-in drivers, and John Hagen is a regular season points champion more than likely with how it's shaping up right now. All right, fasten those seat belts, tighten them up, buckle them up. If you got your popcorn, get your popcorn. This is going to be a fun showdown to see how this plays out. So as the pace car is going to get ready to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. We'll see if Hagen and Beatron can keep their plate domination going. Green as they enter the restart zone. Green flag is out, and away we go. 6 laps remaining. 15 miles possibly separates the driver and victory. Inside line still fanning out here. It's not desperation enough. These drivers want to comfortably go. Backs are going to ditch game in there. Going to go high. Cars fan out. If you fall back now, it could be curtains. Gaiman trying to do something. Markowski going to go low. Other cars fanning out. Ryan Gomes a little bit loose there. Watching this right now as they're 3x3x3. Pinnell bodies Proudfoot. They're still pointing the right direction. Sears trying to get high as well there. If you're watching this, it's the top 5 are single file. They all keep it clean. Pinnell's also a driver in desperation mode. As they fan out, we're going to cut to the lead here. 5 laps to go to see David Wright make a move to get to the high line, and I think he almost hit the wall. Hagen, Real, Wright, Baxter, Bowie. It's 2 Beatron cars, 1-2. David Briley Wright filling in for Dustin Painter. No teammate help there, and then you got the 2 Lion Power cars going low here with caution. Caution is out. We'll hold that thought. Not seeing who it's for. Cars fanning out here. Alfred George looks like he may have been the cause of this one. That front end looks destroyed. Patrick Oberstadt also with a front end clip missing 2. See if anyone else has a piece. Ryan Gomes a little bit torn up on the right side. Not 100% that is damage, though. That came from this caution. It looks like Alfred George and maybe even Cody Pinnell had a piece as well. So we're going to take it as he had to jump to pits. So we'll take a look here. This is the later part of the incident. As my update board is not fully updating when the caution happens. Oh, that's interesting right there. Bad bump city again. Keep an eye on that high side right there. We're actually going to go a little bit. We're going to go David Wright for a second here because that's going to cause a stack up. So watch David Wright in the 42. There's the going low. That causes the check up. We're going to pause there. Then we're going to go back to Alfred George here. And we're going to play it. And you can see right there, bumps Cody Pennell, Cody Pennell, the patch go over, snap jack. Alfred George into the gomes. And there you can see 5 cars right there taken out. Cody Pennell losing. The hood piece is going flying up. You can just see how badly torn up that machine is of Alfred George in that incident. We'll take a second look here again. Right here, we'll focus on Zach Millett in this incident question. Having a rough day here, but locked in the playoffs at the very least. Is Saul check up. And now to George. Just look at that lick by George. Oh, big lick there. As he gets a good piece there. We'll take 2 more looks here. First, we'll take a look this time at Alfred George. As I watch Alfred George for this incident coming down the front, going down to 1-2 here. Trying to make moves, a driver that needs a win to make the playoffs. There's the checkup. At this point, had it clean, and gets stuck on gomes, and that destroyed the right front, basically destroyed the car. As you see in the wide shot here. You see in the wide shot there, that car fully torn. We'll take one more look at this, because I always like to do this when this happens. We'll focus on Cody Pennell, and we'll actually go inside the cockpit with Cody Pennell. That's 4 A-square Cup Series race wins. There's the bump. There it gets loose. This is probably curtains for Pennell. Even though Pennell was barely mathematically a chance for championship, and then the hood pins go up. Hard to see what happens at that point, as he just eventually, he can't even really fully see it, as he likely just elects to pull it over and stop it right there. It's basically very hard to kind of guide it back to pit lane when you can't really see out the hood. So back to live action. That should automatically trigger a green white checkered if my math is correct. We had 5 to go there, a couple laps on caution. We should be in a green white checkered attempt. If not, we should be at the very least an unofficial green white checkered attempt. Unofficial green white checkered attempt pending. Regardless, no difference between if there's a green white checkered or not a green white checkered. We'll go over those rules now just in case. If this is a green white checkered, if it's not, it's still the rules apply if it's unofficial. But regardless, the leader will take the green flag with 2 laps to go. They will race around. If the leader, right now in case it's Hagen, let's say he stays the leader as they come off that corner, he takes the white flag sees the white flag, takes the white flag, next flag ends the race. If John Hagen does not take the right flag, before another caution occurs, we re-rack them, and we do this again. And there's unlimited attempts. ARCS, unlike last season, had 3 attempts. They have unlimited attempts at green white checkers. Last time they burned more than 2 green white checkered attempts was at Talladega back in May. So it's been a while. But you know when the chips are down and desperation is up, these drivers are going to push and push for everything they got. So lights are out on the pace car. Hagen will be row 1. B-Tron looking to try to sweep the road course. Sweep the, actually I think he won to land if I'm not mistaken. Trying to at least put a cement on why they are the strongest team on plate races. They'll be in row 1. Wright, Baxter's the driver that right now could still point his way in. I don't have fully the numbers yet. I'm going to wait for confirmation to truly get you a number. But I can say one thing. Baxter winning would make this a lot easier than relying on math. The problem is Davey Hawk was the cut line and still is the cut line if my math is correct. He's right behind Ross Baxter. So if Hawk can stay in the top 10, that shakes things up quite easily. David Bowie also, not David Bowie, David Bowie. Brandon Bowie. David Bowie was I was thinking there in my brain, but Brandon Bowie right there going to be in row number 3 along with Davey Hawk. Alyssa Peltier Sharp, Tom Sears row 4, Jared Merchant, and James Kerr, your first 5 rows here. James Kerr, a must-win driver, currently sitting in 10th. I'd almost even want to say right now Ross Baxter's a must-win as well. Outside of that, we have 23 cars on lead lap. Last car is Patrick Oberstadt, who right now at the moment is 21 points, 22 points going behind the cut line right now. Did not get many, if any, stage points. So it's unlikely he will advance on merit. He would need a miracle to get in. Other than that, worth noting lastly, 2 cars lap down. George and Mongol both 2 down. After that, everyone else is out of the race, so we have 25 cars still running, but 23 cars with a chance to find their way into victory lane. First attempt, or at least unofficial attempt, at a green-white checkered coming up here. John Hagan on control.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is out, and away we go for 2 laps to go, possibly in the season. Hagan going to jump up in front of Real, and this is what I was talking about. No one is going to bail on that low line now. It's too late. You're going to stay locked up. Right, right. You're going to try to stay low with Bowie and Sharp. Ours going to bit squirrely, though, but that low line, I thought they'd stay together. They're not staying together as well. Zach Millett, that's James Kerr, sorry, trying to get to the front here, behind Alyssa Pelletier Sharp. Remember, if the leader takes the white flag, this race is official. Next flag ends the race, which will most likely be the caution flag, the checkered flag, I should say. As they come across the last corner here, looking smooth at the moment. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go on the regular season, and that season is brought to you by Smeal Racing Designs for the final lap. Hagan, Real, 1-2, Hawk, third, cut line driver. Car's getting a little bit squirrely in the back there. Everyone's still got a point in the right direction, though. Does anyone have anything? Ross Baxter trying to get something. Brandon Bowie gets shuffled out of line. Baxter a little bit further back right now. It's Hagan, Real, and Hawk. 1, 2, 3 as they go through 3 and 4. Baxter going to be side by side. Not going to be enough. Will Real jump out of line? Will he stay loyal to Hagan as they come down the backstretch? Real going to split the middle. It's going to be side by side coming to the line. It's going to be a photo finish. They touch. It's going to be Real. Real taking the victory. Kenny Real in the fill-in for Jeremy Braille will bookend the Daytonas. That 74 found victory lane to start the year, and that 74 will find a way to win here to end the regular season. So that 74 sweeps Daytona with 2 different drivers. John Hagan makes it second for B-Tron. He confirmably locks up the regular season standings. B-Tron dominates the plate races this season. Ross Baxter gets third, and Davey Hawk gets fourth. This is where it's going to get kind of interestingly mathematically mathed right now. Running up the rest of the order, Wright 5th, Sears 6th, Markowski 7th, Kerr 8th, Patrick Oberstadt 9th, Brandon Bowie, your top 10 here. We're going to cut back to Real and Hagan. Both going to show some love. Hagan maybe getting a little celebratory bump there. They kept it clean, no one wrecked. But Kenny Real, a strong fill-in driver. He's come in a couple times, came at Sonoma, got a podium. He's now found a way to victory lane as he will burn it down here. Your winner of the 2024 Last Chance 200 here, the ARCS Last Chance 200 here at Daytona. As he burns it down, we'll go over the final results in a second, but this is where it gets interesting. It's safe to assume Markowski made it through. Wright did not finish inside the top 10. Well, actually, we'll go over the results here in a second as we watch Real burn it down. I don't want to cut away from the celebration here. We'll do some math in a minute here. And hopefully, again, get some corrections. But with Stefan Oberstadt, actually, yeah, hold that thought. You can see one car coming in to join. That is, can't exactly see who it is. That is the 12 of Ryan Pinnell here. Remember, it's Ryan Pinnell. This is his last season here. Sadly, that is probably going to be curtains on his chance of making the playoffs. But as Pinnell will come in and kind of give a celebratory tap here and give his own little swan song to the virtual faithful Daytona. And again, the main reason why we had the little tribute at the beginning, obviously rocking the paint scheme for George Featherplace here. As he wants to kind of show it off here, as you can see on the hood there. Can't get a really close angles. They two will park up on the start-finish straight here. It looks like Kenny Real is done with his celebrations here. So we'll take a quick look at the final results here real fast as these two kind of park it on the line here. If anything else changes, we'll cut back. We're going to take a look at what exactly played out here. Actually, we'll hold that because they're actually doing a little burnout here, so we'll pause here for a second as they're doing a little celebratory burnout here. Presumably in tribute for George Featherplace here. Both their engines will let go here. guess just waiting to see if they finish up here. Yeah, there goes the engine. Just want to wait for the engine to kind of finish up there. So anyway, as they celebrate there, we are going to take a quick look at the official results here. Maybe unofficial, just in case there's a penalty. That was the grid button. That's the results screen. There we go. Kenny Reel takes the win, filling in the B-Tron machine here. With John Hagan in second, Ross Baxter in third. I don't know if it's enough for Ross Baxter. There's also the question of going below the double yellow line there at the finish line. We'll see how he gets scored. Davey Hawk in fourth. That's what the doctor ordered. Should be just enough to get him into the playoffs. Briley Wright fifth, Tom Sears sixth, Dale Markowski seventh, James Kerr eighth, Stefan Oberstadt ninth, Brandon Bowie top 10, Kevin Feemster 11th, David Wright, another driver that was sixth above the line. I think it's just going to be enough. We'll have to let timing and scoring to confirm that. With Pelletier Sharp 13th, Millett 14th, James Wright 15th, Tommy Withers 16th, Ryan Gomes 17th, Jared Merchant 18th, Josh Gaiman 19th, Ryan Pinnell in his last Daytona start coming home P20. As we move further down the grid, we got Bren Roberts 21st. I just don't think with the points he got in the stages, got him close. But that end stage did not get him enough probably to get in, but we'll wait for confirmation on that. Brandon Proudfoot 22nd, Patrick Oberstadt 23rd, Alfred George 24th, Mongol 25th, Cody Pinnell 26th, getting the cars, then end up retiring. Michael Ords 27th, Josh Battles 28th, and Richie Catania rounding out the top 29 here. So that is going to do it for that. We're obviously going to have to, don't go anywhere, we're going to have the top 3 interviews here in just a second. We're going to pull them all in, hear their thoughts about tonight's festivities, and see how they dealt with the race in the race today. So we'll see if anyone is ready to go here. As we go up to the broadcast booth, we should probably go, if they're all there, we should go 3, 2, 1 here. We are going to go 3, 2, 1. So we're going to go Baxter, Hagan, Reel, and we'll hear their thoughts here. So we'll start off with, let's full screen this. We'll go Ross Baxter here, and we'll bring him on in. Ross, this is Kevin, the ABM booth. You got a copy? Yes. All right, cool. Yeah, Paul, I got to turn the audio up for you as well, but we'll reiterate what you just said there. P4 for you in your position. So luckily, going below the yellow line did not cost you there. So anyway, we'll start off obviously the race here. You obviously had a good car there. You put it on the front row, and obviously Daytona, very interesting plate race, but I want to kind of know your mindset because you were a driver coming in today needing stage points. What was your mindset throughout the race? Were you going heavy for stage points, or were you just like, let's just see what happens?
Well, first and foremost, before we start this, Kevin, I just wanted to send my condolences to my teammate, to Brandon Fetterplace and his entire family. I can't imagine what they're going through. I really was trying to get a win for him. I would love to put the 60 car in the win, especially with what he's going through. But yeah, I had a long discussion with Tom. We figured once the green flag started, I was just going to mainly go for stage points because there was a chance for me to point in. So I was like, well, if I can win both stages, there's 20 points. I only need one more. And so, but after getting caught up in the first 3 wrecks of the race, it kind of switched to where just trying to get myself in position, trying to find my teammates on the track and try to see, I was just going to keep the pedal down all the way. And, either I get the checker flag or I hit the wall. It's one of those things, I wasn't going to lift for anybody. And, but just didn't get the run I needed. It actually came too late. And when we were coming down to the checkers, it was either, help someone win it or, put my car where I did, which was below the yellow line for the win. So it sucks. This is probably the most disappointing 3rd place or 4th place finish I've picked up. But I don't know. We'll just see how the points set up. And I don't know if it's enough or not, but I felt like I did everything I could. Had a great qualifying effort, but just got in too many wrecks and just had a late run at the end. So
yeah, I know the heartbreak in that situation time and time again when you get close, trying to make something happen. It just sometimes you can't find the way. I do want to ask another question as well. Obviously, we saw cars ditching that low line on a lot of restarts. Was the game plan, the high line, really where you needed to be, or was that low line kind of just like like it took time to get going. So why were all so many cars dipping to the high line as soon as the restart occurred? If you have any clue.
The from my vantage point, the high line was safe, which is kind of weird for me because I always feel the bottom line is the safest.
Hmm.
But everybody sticked up to that high line, and if you stay in that high line, you can maintain your position. But if I mean, you really needed cars working together on that bottom line, and luckily, I mean, I felt like the bottom line worked. I mean, it's a risk, but all my teammates on Line Power, I mean, we made it work. Both Brandon and Tom was I think both of them were able to push me to the front in two different occasions. Um, and I thought I had this race in the bag once I had those pushes. Um, it was just it was just really a risk, and there was a lot of people that did not want to do it. They want to stick onto high line. I guess it was like the comfort zone. But sometimes you got it to gain an advantage on people. Sometimes you got to go in your discomfort zones to make something work. And we were able to make it work, and I was able to gain a lot of positions on the low line. So I'm kind of glad no one ran that bottom line. So.
Hmm. Well, obviously it did work out for you at the end, but obviously it's just a little bit too short on that one. Obviously, I can't speculate right now where you are. My math, I think you may be on the outside looking in, but I will wait for official control to confirm that. But if, regardless, you made the playoffs or not, you've had a great performance here. You've been showing a lot of pace throughout this regular season here, definitely showing, even though obviously there's a lot of strong rookies in the field, you're definitely making a staple. Why definitely for next season, someone definitely will want to pick you up, and you're showing some great performance. But obviously, if let's see you make the playoffs or not, let's hear your thoughts on Darlington. Do you think it's a track where we can maybe find you way back on the podium, or maybe even find that elusive first win in A squared competition?
I absolutely love Darlington. If you talk to any of my old Heat friends, they did not like racing me at Darlington because it was like absolutely my favorite track. Obviously, I have less experience than a lot of these guys in here. I mean, this is actually I've only been running this next gen car since basically when this season started. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of reasons why I've had the finishes I've had. Just because this is a brand new car for me, man. It's a lot different car to learn compared to like the Xfinity cars and the truck cars that I've used to running. But I'm really starting to get a good feel of this car. I think the last couple of races that I've had um, have really shown that. I mean, Brand, both Brandon, Fetter Place, Dan and Tom. I mean, they have actually been working with me so hard, especially Fetter Place. If you have noticed, since Fetter Place has joined our team, that's when I started seeing results. He's been working with me so much. I can't thank um, thank all of my teammates in Line Power enough for everything they have taught me. Um, but regardless if I am in the playoffs, I'm not. If I'm in the playoffs, great. If I'm not, I'm still going to keep this momentum going. And who knows? I would love to get another podium, be able to talk to you again. And who knows? Maybe we can throw this 60 car on in the victory lane one day.
Yeah, maybe indeed. Obviously, you kind of are kind of doing what I was going to say next, but if there's anyone else you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I want to thank again every single one of my teammates at Line Power, Dan, Brandon Featherplace, Brandon, who is subbing for Brandon, especially Tom Sears. Those guys, like I said, I mean, those guys have been so great to me. Basically, opened me up with open arms. Just basically gave me the handbook of how to drive these cars. I want to thank my mom and dad. I think they should be watching. And but yeah, hoping that we can have more finishes like this. I feel like we're on a good roll here, and we'll see how we finish the season.
Well, obviously, it's been great talking to you, Ross. Obviously, hopefully we talk to you again before the season's ends. But if not, you take care and have a good rest of your week.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you.
And that was our third place finisher, Ross Baxter. Obviously, he's going to be weighted on bated breath to hear if he makes the playoffs or not. We're going to move on nicely to our second place finisher, though. Obviously, a driver that is no introduction if you've been watching the season so far, and in turn, a driver that you can say has done a lot here. It's John Hagan. We'll hear from him now, a driver that is our regular season point season champion. John, this is Kevin Nabian Booth. You got a copy?
Hello.
Honestly, you keep talking, we keep talking, and obviously you've got another podium here, so we keep this streak going. So obviously, a lot of things to talk about here. We'll go over them in a little bit here. Starting off, obviously there was no questions coming today you were going to make the playoffs. There's no questions the regular season points championship as well. It's pretty much locked up. So let me ask this question. In this mindset, were you going checkers records at the front, or were you thinking maybe drifting back and keeping the car clean? What was your mindset at the High Banks Daytona throughout to keep that car clean to the finish?
First stage, it was I'm more worried about the people I work with, trying to get them stage points, because there's a couple of them in points positions that could have helped. And if there's anything I could have done first stage, I wanted to be up there to help them. So I was going to keep it up there and not really stick my nose in places that it shouldn't go. So kept it clean, kept it safe, kept it up there. Second stage, we got a little bit shuffled because two teammates were playing some games. And so when they were doing that, I ended up like 10th or something. And then we hit a fuel window where we could have flipped the stage. So that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it was just don't crash before the end of the stage, because I felt like it was going to happen, and it did. And so that worked out. We got that track position back, and I've raced with Kenny a whole bunch in different leagues and different series. So I know what he's capable of in super speedways, and we were working together the whole night. So from there, we were really able to just control top for the rest of the stage. And then it got really tight on fuel at the end. And I was pushing Ryan, which only helped my number, because if I was leading, I don't think I would have made it. But yeah, a whole bunch of just keep it clean and take your opportunities when you can. I really wasn't trying to make bold moves and all that, because I knew I was safe and good for regular season championship and everything. So I was really in the mindset of I'm going to help my teammates if I can, and if I can't, then I'm going to go out and do my best to win it.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, it did work out at the very least. You definitely kept Beechron out front. They've been a dominating force at the plate tracks that we've seen. Moving further on, obviously, you talked about the fuel economy. We were core questions, but you made it to the end of the line there. But take us through those last 10, the last restart we got with the green white checkered. Obviously, it was you and Real side by side, and obviously, Real wasn't going to lay over and die on you. You both were going to fight to the finish line. But was any gentleman's truce maybe about saying we're going to keep the top two spots to ourselves, and then we'll fight it between the two of us? What was going through that last restart there between the two of you and the rest of the field?
Kenny told me he liked pushing better, and I like leading better, so that worked out pretty well. And he'd let me up, and we just keep it straight. If you get two hooked up and a third pretty close, inside really can't make any moves, especially with only 2 laps to go. He can just lay on my bumper and not worry about blowing up. So top came overpowered there, and we had talked about it. It was every man for himself out of 4, just as long as we don't wreck each other, and that's what happened. And I could tell he wanted top there because he was waiting on me to make the move to go bottom. So I kept it up there, hoping that I could pull him back on that right rear for the side draft coming to the line. And then we were dead even coming to it. And I was like, okay, if I give him a door here, it'll kill both of our momentum, and whoever's ahead gets it. And he was just that 1 inch ahead.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's the team boss's car, so you know eventually that car is going to find a way towards the front there. Moving onward, obviously next week the playoffs officially start. You've been the masterclass of the season so far. I don't think there's anything really you can say otherwise. But it is worth noting that last season the regular season champion brought it to the Final Four, but didn't end up winning the championship. So there is possibly that little bit of worry there. But speaking of, with Darlington next week, and how do you feel on Darlington, and do you think there's a chance we see you lift the championship in about 8 weeks' time?
I'm good at some tracks. I'm good at a lot of tracks. Darlington is by far, hands down, my best track. I know that place to a T. I can set times with pros. I'll be fast. I'm feeling really good about next week.
Mm-hmm.
So really looking forward to that. And I have enough of a gap anyway. I think I have a full race gap anyways. So I'm not worried really about the round of 1, especially with my best track on there.
Mm-hmm.
The second round is I don't know what tracks are there.
Kansas and Bristol.
Kansas and Bristol. Again, with the points gap, it makes it easier. 1.5 miles fall right into my strong suit. So I'm looking there just to, if not win, make it easy on points. The real round that scares me is round of 8.
Talladega
2
and
wild
Michigan.
card.
Yeah.
Because Michigan's a big draft track. even though it's not a plate race, it's still a draft track and it's hard to pass and everything. So, and then you followed up by Dega, a wild card. So that's the scary round. But if we get through that, Homestead's probably my second best track. So I, I'm feeling good about the playoffs.
Well, you're putting the field on notice at the very least. We'll see if you could bring it home in 8 weeks' time. But anyway, lastly, you probably know the drill by now. If there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Shout out everybody at Beatron, Kenny for filling in. He worked wonderful with me. He was perfect. Great pushes all night. Worked together on strategy, and we put it where it needed to be. Shout out the rest of Beatron, Mongold, Breo, who wasn't here, Adams. Shout out CBR. They worked with us too. They weren't there at the end, but it was great to have them working with us during the middle of the race. Shout out my painters. Tonight was also Mongold, but it also got John Spiel and Jacob Schengle. All wonderful painters. Shout out my beautiful girlfriend. She lets me race. She supports me. It's wonderful, and it's awesome to go out here and have fun. Shout out the A Squared admins for putting on a wonderful regular season. I'm looking forward to the playoffs, and shout out you, Kevin, and everybody at ABN who broadcasts this.
Well, thank you, John, for that. Obviously, next week is Darlington, so hopefully you take care. And obviously, I know you'll be strong there at the very least. But if we don't talk to you, hope you have a good rest of your week, and you take care.
Thank you.
And that was our second place finisher, John Hagan. And we only got one more driver to interview now. We're going to move on up the ladder. If I can get back to the booth here, we will tell you who that driver is. It is Kenny Reel, our race winner. We're going to hear his thoughts now. Kenny, this is Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Alrighty. Obviously, we haven't talked to you much in this series, but you've been filling in a lot. And when you do fill in, you seem to find a lot of success. But we'll have to start at the very beginning here. Pretty much throughout the race, you were a dominant force up front, and so obviously you're not competing for a championship or anything. You're just here for the check flag. What was similar to Hagan? What was your mindset kind of up front? Obviously, you stayed up front, but was that the be-all, end-all, or were you maybe thinking maybe I should drop back, maybe I should avoid wrecks? What was your mindset going into this race and how you wanted to attack it?
Oh, I just wanted to be up front the whole time because I knew if in the middle and the back, that's where most of the wrecks are, usually up front. And Super Speedway racing, at least, it's, for the most part, pretty clean, at least if you're in like the top five. So that's where I wanted to be. I know at the beginning of the race, I wanted to get up, got shuffled back to like 18th, and just the lines were so staggered. I guess there's two teammates leading each line. So it just, the top usually is the dominant force at Daytona, and it was just so stalled out both lines. So I finally got some track position by flipping the stage, and other after that we just pretty much stayed up front the whole time, and I wanted to push Hagan because I'm comfortable pushing, and after that we got the top line rolling, and just from there it's just keeping track position, staying at the front.
Well, it worked out quite nicely. I got to ask as well, Beatron's been a dominating factor in plate races. Did any of that teamwork and magic help you out there up at the front?
Oh yeah, the teamwork, was good. We had a few people we were working with, and Hagan, I know him from other leagues and Super Speedway racing. Then also having an actual spotter in my ear, been with him for about a year, so he keeps me level headed during the race, which makes just driving the car easy. I ain't got to worry about fuel strategy, tires, none of that. He takes care of everything, so it helps me out. All I gotta do is worry about the car. So yeah, having the teammates that in your ear, that they know what they're doing, when to make certain moves, when to not make it, it helps out a lot, especially in these type of races.
Right. Sometimes it helps to lie back on that point. Obviously, moving further on, well, obviously we heard John Hagan's perspective on the last restart. Let's hear your thoughts as well. What was through that mind, and obviously what was going through that mind in that last restart, and in turn, that last lap pass that got you the victory?
Yeah, I just wanted him to. When we went green, I told him to hop up in front of me because I just wanted to make it. At least if we could be 1-2, another green white checker came out, we could control the lane again. We just wanted to make it to the white, and once we made it to the white, I knew someone but Baxter behind me was going to try to make a move out of some corner. He did it on the back stretch, and then uh, Hawk came up, and when he had a run on me on the back stretch after Baxter went down, he kind of checked up, and from there I just knew it was going to be me or Hagan because he had to reformulate a run to get back up to me. And I kind of out of turn 4, I thought Hagan was going to go down, but he didn't because I wanted to right rear side draft him to the line. And I just knew if I didn't make that move when I did, I would have had too short of a window to get a nose in there. So as soon as I didn't see him drop out of the corner, I just made my move and just hoped it stuck.
Well, obviously, you're obviously not a full-time entry. You're only a sub-in driver, so we can't really talk about how Darlington will be next week. If you did fill it or not, who knows? But I will ask this instead. We'll just kind of go to the last thing here. So obviously, it is ABN tradition. If there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I just want to really give a shout out to Feder Place. I've known Feder Place for a while. He's going through some rough things, so I hope he's doing all right. No one should ever have to go through that. So really, I just want to keep him and his family in my prayers, and hope he gets better where he can come back and race. And I want to thank my teammates for working with me that race and that I filled in for, and also want to thank my spotter for doing what he does for me every week.
Well, obviously, it's been great talk. Kenny Real, obviously, your spotter does a great job and got you a victory here today. But obviously, you take care and have a good rest week if we don't see you before the end of the season.
All right, you as well, brother. Thank you.
And that was our race winner, Kenny Real, filling in for obviously the 74 for Jeremy Braille. So that is going to be that tonight. Obviously, we still have some speculation of where the playoffs have gone, how everything's played out. Obviously, hoping that maybe we got a confirmation before this night ends. Not seeing anything come down the pipelines. So obviously, the crew is going to work diligently to give us a number. But there are some things that we'll pull up the old graphic before. So this is not the updated one, but we'll take a look at what they would look like before coming in tonight. This is not updated. Want to make that perfectly clear. But you can see right now, safe to assume where everyone finished up. Josh Gaiman, Tom Sears, Kevin Feemster, and Dale Markowski all pretty much locked their tickets in with their good runs tonight. So presumably, it's safe to assume, again, bearing any math or penalties, they should be in the list. The real question marks come with Wright, Oberstadt, Hawk, Roberts, LaJoy, and the rest, and Ross Baxter. It's safe to assume with Patrick Oberstadt and Ryan Pinnell finishing a bit poorly, they should be out. Michael Joy, obviously, don't even think was here tonight, so he should be out as well. And that leaves us with 4 drivers fighting over good spots. Hawk looked poised maybe not to make it, but with his P4 in. Hearing some rumor right now, Hawk and Oberstadt is in. So, at the very least, the Hawks P4, he should be in. Oberstadt kind of assumed that with his good finish as well in the top 10. Should be in. David Wright is a question mark, and the question is, did Roberts earn enough stage points to get himself in, or did Ross Baxter there with his late run in stage 2 points and his P4 be enough to lunge himself in? We'll see if we can get the SDK real fast to refresh here and see if we can get final results here real fast one more time. SDK, obviously, love-hate relationship with the program. We'll see if we can get that refreshed here, but even then, I don't know if the results will come back in. So give me 2 seconds here. We'll refresh. Just going to hold out here just for a second, just to see if we can get one more chance at this. Still nothing. Yeah, so hold out just for a second here. Obviously, do not go anywhere. We'll see if we can get a last result here if this thing ever decides to work with me. Let's see if we just reload it. If it doesn't, then we're going to have to kind of go through the power of just relay here. But, yeah, so I guess while we wait and see if this fixes or not, just 2 seconds would be great. Nope, SDK is not going to work here. Okay, so we're just going to have to go through the power of old throwback here real fast. But with Gaiman, obviously, with looking at David Wright, he finished P12. That's still pretty good, though, at the very least. And considering his main rivals around him at the moment were, just to go back up to the top for what I can see here, his main rivals were P4. Davey Hawk was P4. Ross Baxter was P3. And then working our way through the rest of the board here. It's overall just an odd situation around, and we'll see if we get any confirmation real fast. But regardless, keep an eye on all the social medias, A Squared social media as well, ARCS Racing, ABN website as well, where we will hopefully get you an update of where the top 16 get in. But again, preliminary, if I had to throw who I think's in, it seems to be right now Markowski, Oberstadt, and Hauk all did enough to get in. The question mark is on Wright, Roberts, and Baxter. One of those 3 drivers will take the last spot in as the the ARCS crew tabulate some points here. But regardless, keep an eye, like I said, keep an eye on all the social medias and all that to get an update at that point, and we will definitely give you the updated standings next week when everything pulls in. Just taking one last chook here, make sure nothing else has been popped in for that. Don't see anything else. So regardless, thank you for tuning in here on ABN2 for the ARCS Last Chance 200 for the ARCS Midwest Barbecue Aquatic Cup Series. It has been a great race, and it's been very fun the call these previous weeks here. It's been a very fun season throughout the previous, make sure you got the number here, 18 rounds. It's been fun. A lot of these drivers have fought off, but now the real work begins here. 16 drivers are going to fight for a championship over the next 7 weeks. Unlike the real NASCAR playoffs, there's only 2 rounds for each round. So Darlington, just to kind of give an update of what, actually we'll see if we can pull a schedule up real fast here, just to show. We've talked about it, and obviously we're going a little long here, but the only thing on right now, so might as well just finish up here, just to show you the calendar real fast. Kind of going to do this a little bit hog wild here, but just to show you what the last 7 rounds look like. Here it is. So you can see right here, here is the calendar right here, and we'll just zoom it in here real fast to make it a little more visible. So you can see right here, Darlington, Watkins Glen is the first round, Kansas, Bristol the second round, Talladega, Michigan the round of 8, and then the championship at Homestead. And for 16 drivers, one of them will be hoisting the title on September 1st. But till then, hopefully everyone takes care, enjoys their evening. Obviously, again, we here at ABN2 and ABN as well wish Brandon Fedplace some thoughts and prayers at this difficult time in his family as well. And hopefully, again, it's not much, but hopefully at the very least this community and that can give him at least something to smile about in these hard times. But until then, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you here next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the start of the playoffs at Darlington. But until then, everyone take care and have a good rest of your evening.